Am I here? Oh, I am hearing it. Yeah. So,
Hello, hello.
Hello.
All right. Hi, Mike. I am here. We're here on April 30th at the Dream It, Code It, Win It, Unleashing Opportunities with Technology event, second annual event. So, you're Mike Zemansky.
Yes.
And if you would introduce yourself and where you work, and
Okay, I am Mike Szymanski.
right.
I have been teaching computer science in the public schools for this is my 25th year. I built the computer science program at Stuyvesant High School, which has been reasonably successful. And to try to get to more kids, my team and I have spun off CSTI, Computer Science and Technology for Urban Youth, to try to get to kids who aren't at our school, since that really limits what we can do.
Right. And so, what are you doing with C-STI? If you could elaborate on that a little bit more.
Well, we're in our second year of existence. Last year we had our first summer program, and we're recruiting kids again for our summer program. It's a 1 month immersion program. We don't sugarcoat; it's the real deal. But the kids have a blast. They do great things. You hear things. Some of our anonymous reviews. One kid said. Yeah, I kind of did this because my parents made me, and I had no idea what computer science was. But now I'm going to have such an edge when I major in it in college.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a young lady who stayed with her sister from out of state, and she was going on about how she loved the fact that it wasn't an all-girls program and all boys and all that. It was like a bunch of really cool, motivated people just learning together, and they learn the real fundamentals. And it's not. You see a lot of programs that say learn to make a mobile app in a month.
Mm-hmm.
If it were that easy, we wouldn't have a tech talent shortage. It takes time, and the kids that we have take
Start
that
young.
first step. We get them as early, we take them throughout high school.
Mm-hmm.
This year we're taking back our kids from last year for a more advanced group
Yeah.
and more beginners. We have a Saturday program that meets every week on Saturdays, so the kids want to come down. We're hosted at Sumall, which is a tech startup in Lower Manhattan, and they give us
Yeah.
the space. They're very helpful to us, and the kids can hack projects, build projects, learn more things. We also host hackathons, things like that, and it's baby steps, but
Right.
whatever you can to get to more kids.
Right. And so we were talking with a couple of students at Penn now, but they had been at Stuyvesant, and we're talking about you in the highest regards. So do you then interact with universities as well?
Not directly. We
Right.
have, there are people that over the years you get to know,
Right.
particularly in the city because we're close by. We do build a network of our students. We have, we call it the Sty CS family.
Okay.
And it's an alumni group of about 900 people over the years. And the cool thing about that is it's not a Stuyvesant alumni group, it's
Right.
our own little Sty CS family.
Right.
And so the kids provide mentorship for each other, the older ones for the younger ones. When our kids make it into college, the ones that are in college host them. When the kids are graduating from college, the other ones provide career advice. And so we've got this huge support network. So it's not just from high school to the university, it's a support network throughout. A couple of our kids are hosting a meetup. Kids, they're like
Right,
35, 40 years
right.
old. A Bitcoin meetup for our family, for the people who don't know about it.
Right.
So we have this great support system for them.
Right. And I think that's fantastic. As I was mentioning, I wish I had learned more computer science in this school, had that opportunity. I know this Dream It, Code It, Win It competition is trying to get the word out there about
Yeah.
how you can start young and solve real problems, and get involved with computer science. So I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, and can I just say on that,
Please.
one of the things that I really love is, we hosted a hackathon.
Yeah.
But hackathons are basically parties for like-minded tech people, like all of us. But it's not, it's great exposure, but it's not, it's a very short time span, how much can you learn and retain? And I just love the fact that this is the type of event where kids get to build something over time
Right.
and then show off their work. So I just love this format.
A lot of these projects kids have been working on for an entire year. Maybe it's their thesis project if they're in college. Maybe it's
Right,
their
my
summer
kids,
project.
our seniors, and it's interesting that our seniors submitted projects that were their term projects.
Oh, let's take a
Oh,
photo.
okay. our seniors submitted projects that were their term projects from last semester in our senior software development class. And the junior entries that are finalists tonight, they all started their projects at the Nonprofits Hackathon and then
Right.
continued to work on it in their spare time.
Right.
So it's across the board.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's really great, and because of it, the quality of the projects we see are just so much more in depth and overarching, and some of the applications are really interesting. So I guess let's start talking to some students about their projects. I know I'm going to talk. Janine is someone who's going to help us interview, so I'm actually going to put this down. But thanks so much, Mike. I really appreciate
My pleasure.
speaking with you.
So everyone here is getting something. Okay, but there's different levels.
Mr. Spokesperson?
So I just go ahead? Okay. Are we set? Should I go ahead? Okay. Hi, guys. Congratulations on Dream It, Code It, Win It.
Thank you.
Want to hear a little bit about who you are and what you've created and why. Who are you?
We're Life Cycle. We're high school students from the Academy for Software Engineering, and we have developed an application that allows users to take like reusable materials and turn them into creative projects.
So taking away the trash and putting it into something good. I love that.
Yeah.
So what inspired you to try to solve this problem?
Well, we were doing some research and we found that Americans produce 251 million tons of trash every year.
Oh my God. That's frightening.
Yes, it was very frightening. And we walk by a lot of trash every day, in New York City especially. And we felt like we wanted to do something to help our community. And with the help of our teachers and amazing staff at our school, we were able to build this.
That's great. So tell me a little bit how Life Cycle works.
So what we do is we create lists from Pinterest, and when you search up on life cycle, cardboard, plastic, like a bottle, like whatever it may be, it gives you all these ideas from Pinterest that you can click on, and it redirects you to Pinterest, and it gives you directions on how to make it.
So you're cleaning up the world and inspiring creativity at the same time.
Exactly.
I love it. So tell us about coding. Like what got you into coding, and do you like it? Is it fun? And what got you into all this?
Well, for myself, I transferred 10th grade to this school because in 9th grade I was in a school in New Jersey, and I had a passion for computer science. So I decided to transfer to this school, and it's been an amazing experience with a lot of opportunities. And I think, if I could speak for all of us, it's everyone here is like interested in programming and coding past high school. We all love to do it. It's amazing. The school's centered around it, and I think.
What do you want? Oh, like this? Okay. Do we need to start over? Okay.
Okay. Well, I think it's just programming and coding. We all love to do it, and it's great for all of us.
Okay. Well, what do you think is what's your favorite part about coding?
Favorite part about coding for me, I do more front-end development, making things look nice, doing iOS development like iPhone, and the rest of them have helped and done the web version using many different languages. Yeah.
So it must be really great to see it all come together and start working, right?
Yeah, it's I think from start to finish, getting to see what you've built it's incredible.
So great creativity. Well, congratulations, and I hope that life cycle really takes off and we can start cleaning up the planet.
Thank you.
Sounds great. Okay, I'm just waiting for some direction.
Yes.
So congratulations, guys. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you were just walking by garbage and you decided that this is what we're going to make, or did you have a lot of iterations?
We were brainstorming for a long time with our teachers. We had a couple ideas, and we felt like this was one of the best ideas that we could
That's
implement.
great. I think it's wonderful.
Thank you.
Good for you. And how did you hear about the contest?
Through our teacher.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful. Well, I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Hey. Sure. Hi, how are you?
I'm seeing the feed now, and so Kate is my CEO feeding teacher, and she's the publisher of More, a women's magazine. And
Should we just put up one person? Here to stand. Just like for show. It's like they should just take one person.
I forget. But anyway, so you're going to be doing the live feed.
Yeah, I
So
just did one.
you just did one. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's still live. Because somebody had told me to do it live.
Oh, okay. So I was wondering if you could interview Philippe next.
Oh,
and
okay,
ask
great.
him why he's sponsoring
Okay,
it,
yeah,
and all that stuff. And he's giving the 10K prize
Oh, that's
for
great.
technology innovation.
Oh, fantastic. That's great. Well, Philippe, should we take it away? Should we get a microphone? Or?
And let me just tell you also that's Jason Thompson, who's going to be the MC. So I'm seeing
Okay, great. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, so unless you switch it off, people can hear what you're saying, okay? Similar with that one. over there. So you can mute them by hitting mute, which case I'm going to and then you hit like that again.
Okay. All right. So you're going to help get all the kids up to here. Okay.
Guys, I guess, you know, I'm a novice on this.
Good.
I think, should we both?
Greens, that should be okay.
Okay, so I don't know where this, I think we need to.
So I have to be close or?
Hi, Philippe. How are you?
Hello.
Welcome to Dream It, Code It, Win It. So glad that you're a part of it. How did you decide that you wanted to be a part? First, tell me who you are and how did you decide to be a part of it?
I'm the CEO of Trading Screen, which is a company producing financial software, mostly trading software for banks and for large investors.
Fantastic.
So, a network.
Great. Well, how did you decide to be a part of Dream It, Code It, Win It?
Well, I have a lot of talented programmers in the company, extremely talented, and so they all tend to train young people. And we were talking among ourselves and said it would be nice to find a way to kind of promote that, because we always have number one, problems to find good people in that business, but also we felt that a lot of people don't understand how interesting it is. And so we felt, as a way maybe to pay back society, it was a good idea to try to promote the skills which are essential today. And the answer in the team was amazing. Everybody was super interesting, and we decided to try to do something about it. And we said, how do we do it? People started to say, oh, we need a competition. We said, a competition on what? And little by little, it started to grow. And then a lot of people got interested outside of the company, and it grew into a big thing. So
that's great. Good for you. I mean, you're paying it forward for the next generation.
Hopefully.
And, you know, it is. Coding is an amazing thing, and it's going to affect every part of our society moving forward. So I think you're really on the forefront of something. Yeah. So tell me what you think about these kids and the projects that they put together.
They are just amazing. I mean, the level of creativity is unbelievable. They are able to conceptualize a problem. They're able to find a nice way to solve it, and they even find a way to present it or market it properly to us. And that's exactly what we wanted. That's because we tend to, everything today comes finished, you know, or almost half done. And not that. They really have to work hard. They have to identify what they want to do. They have to learn skills to do to perform the solutions they have decided is the best. They have to send it to us with a good representation in order to make it interesting. So it's pretty good. We like it.
Well, that's great. You're really inspiring innovation because without this type of thinking and creativity for this generation, we will be in a bad place in the future. So
absolutely.
It's congratulations for you to have the insight to be able to sponsor something like this and support it.
Yeah, we are numerous to sponsor it, but it's I think a lot of people are interested in sponsoring that, which is nice.
That's great. Well,
good group.
You know, we're solving a big problem for society and also to get kids excited about doing something fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. Well, congratulations. And, you know, any words of wisdom to the kids that they get up here to present and talk about their projects?
No, I think they should believe in what they do. That's the only advice I have to give them. I think most of the projects were very achieved, very well thought out. You see that a lot of thinking went into it, so that's exactly what we wanted. I mean, and we are just rewarding the best one, but you have many which could have qualified.
That's great.
And my team was extremely involved in testing and looking at everything which was submitted. It was a very big work.
That's a lot.
And they were absolutely amazed by what they found.
That's
which is really
wonderful.
good.
And it's great that everybody is so invested from your organization. I mean,
Everybody,
that's wonderful.
top to bottom.
That's fantastic because, that way you really are paying it forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's wonderful. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yep. There you go. That is. Hi, guys. How are you? Welcome to Dream It, Code It, Win It. We're excited for you guys. Congratulations. So who are you?
I am Andreas Wang. Cooper Weaver.
Mark Norwich.
Eric Morgenstern.
Oh, well, I hear you guys are from Stuyvesant, so that means you guys are smart.
I guess you could say that.
So tell me about, your project and what it's called and what it does.
Okay, well, our project is called Amba. It's a music sharing and hosting site. So we found that given the music sites that we have today, there are a lot of them, but the one recurring theme we found is that there's just way too much music on it. It's like millions and millions of songs, and it's just impossible to sift through all of them when you're looking for a new artist. So what we did instead was we allowed users to upload their songs free of charge, but after the end of a week, we would we'd cull our selection, and users, when they listen, would be allowed to like or dislike a song. And at the end of that week, we'd evaluate all these songs, and anything that was below a threshold of likes would just get deleted from our site, ensuring that we'd have a selection of high quality music from small producers that don't get these big name recognition that they would, say, on iTunes, but still have a small enough group, small enough selection of music that we'd be able to give users the chance to find something that they like without having to sift through hours and hours
So
of
you're
music.
curating for your customers.
Yes.
That's excellent. Well, that's a great service. I mean, I think curating through that weeds and weeds of information is a very important thing. Who are you targeting?
Really,
Anyone who likes music?
anyone who likes music. We have categories of all the different genres, so people can choose where to upload and what to listen to.
Fantastic. So what inspired this idea? You just yourselves and who and how did you get into coding and how did you decide to pull it all together?
Well, so the project initially started as our final project for a course we were taking, software development. So we kind of grouped together and just brainstormed for a while. We ran through a bunch of different ideas.
And how did this one float to the top?
That's a good question. We really were just kind of running through them. Everyone was throwing out ideas, and this one seemed like one that we all kind of came together on, and we all like equally shared an interest in.
So it's your own personal passion about music that brought you around that.
Definitely.
That's great. And then tell me about the coding. Like what was the process of solving problems and putting that all together?
So we held all of our code on GitHub, which is a website that stores code, and you can have many people that collaborate through GitHub. We initially split up different tasks and gave deadlines for each task. So one person did the database, one person created the login code, one person worked on the actual music, one person created like the CSS and basically the template for the website. And we would meet every couple of days in school, just check on how everyone was doing, basically make sure everyone was keeping their deadlines, and finally it all came together. In the end, we had a week of debugging, making sure everything worked the way it should, running code tests to make sure we can actually upload the songs, our database was working correctly. These are all skills that we've learned through our 3 years of computer science at Stuyvesant.
That's great.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Sounds like a big project.
Thank you.
Now, I want to know, is it fun? For someone who's never coded before, it can be very intimidating, but you guys are creating great stuff, but is it fun?
The end product is definitely worth it. There are moments in coding and computer science where you kind of want to pull your hair out because there's a problem that you can't solve and you don't know why. But when you finally realize it, because maybe it was a semicolon that you missed or you had a variable that was wrong, something really small, and you finally understand why your code was wrong, it's really rewarding when you get it all to come together. And I think the hours that we all spent and kind of the stress that we went through, especially in a stressful time in our lives when we were applying to college, definitely taught us how to manage our time and made us better programmers.
Congratulations. That's great.
Yeah, and definitely just on what he said, it's very interesting. When you grow up as a little kid, you look at an application like iTunes or Spotify, and you can't possibly imagine how they could create something like that. And then 5 years later, after just a couple comp sci classes, the four of us could come together and create something.
That's great. Well,
similar.
that's really inspiration for the next generation, I have
Exactly.
to say. Now, I have to ask this question because I'm sure parents will wonder. Do you think that computer science and coding helped you get into college?
You want to?
Well, I think a lot of us are doing computer science in college, actually. So I do think that the classes and our background has helped us realize what we want to do, and we applied to do that stuff in the future. So yeah, I do think that helped us.
Congratulations. Well, there's a dearth of coders, so you're inspiring more people. And for parents out there who are listening, get your kids into computer science can help them get into college. So congratulations. Yeah. I will use your app when it's fully up because I need someone to curate music for me. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, welcome to Dream It, Code It, Win It. Now, who do we have here? Hi, Angela. And who are you two lovely gentlemen?
I'm Roy. I'm Leon.
Okay. And then, so tell us how you came to Dream It, Code It, Win It, and what's your project? Okay, it's on.
See when it's orange?
Okay,
Not on. Green? On.
Okay.
So start again.
Okay. All right, technical difficulties. No. Hi. Here we go. Who do we have here?
I'm Angela Lin, and these are my partners, Roy Su and Leon Chow.
Nice to see you. Welcome to Dream It, Code It, Win It.
Thank you.
I want to hear about your project and what made you decide to come to Dream It, Code It, Win It and enter.
So our project is called Safety Numbers. It's a data analyzing website. So basically, you input an address, and what it does is that it locates the nearest precinct and evaluates how dangerous the neighborhood is, and it gives you little tips and tricks on what you should do and how you should be careful when you're in that neighborhood. So we decided to create this out of our love for New York City, and we know parents are always really anxious when they send out children to New York, because New York, it's this kind of place where there's a lot of different people and you kind of live in your own neighborhood. So because we wanted to do something like this, we decided to code it and come to this competition.
That's great. As a parent, I feel better about an app like this. Now, where do you guys go to school?
We go to Stuyvesant High School.
Yeah, so you're all smart. Anyone who goes to Stuyvesant has to be smart. So, tell about the process of creating this and how you decided, the process of coding and what you had to do to get it done.
Well, we found a database from the New York City Open Data program that had all the statistics for the last 14 years on crime in New York City. So you have detailed information on murders, rapes, thefts, all the crimes that they report. You have it all in an easy to access format. So we didn't find anyone else utilizing this amazing database. There's so much information, but nobody was utilizing it. So we decided to take this and make a great website out of it that could really help save lives, really, protect people.
Totally.
Yeah.
And if you save one life, that's a huge deal,
Yeah.
and hopefully you'll save many. That's wonderful.
It feels great to make an app that can really make an impact on the city that we love. We've lived there the whole life.
And where do you guys live?
I live in Brooklyn, Sheepshead Bay.
Okay, and then you guys?
I've lived in Brooklyn and Queens.
Okay.
I live in Brooklyn with him.
Okay, well, I feel like this is a great application. You can scale that to many different cities, so I love that. So tell me about the process of creating. What was it fun? Were there frustrations? And how do you feel about the end product?
Well, in the process of creating this application, we spent many late nights together coding and working through kinks in the codes and bugs and all that. And there were many times where we couldn't get through a certain quirk in how the data system was run, so we had to go to other people for help. For example, we went to a competition and asked some people to help us with an API access database.
So it was a real collaboration.
It was a lot of
That's
work.
great. So how do you feel now that it's up and running? I mean, you have a dream, you dream something and then you code it and then it comes to life. That must feel pretty great.
Yeah, there were a lot of problems at first, but when we finally finished, it was just so exhilarating. We were just standing up screaming. We were like, yes, we finally did it. And then when we found out that we were finalists, they called me over the phone and they were screaming in my ear. It was really great. And I feel that this project not only does it help parents, but in the future, it's a database that can be accessed by anyone. So you have politicians, and they can see which neighborhoods are most dangerous. So you can pinpoint where you can build hospitals, promote business growth.
That's great.
So not only that, but you can extrapolate it so far with just this little thing that we created.
That's brilliant. I find having all that data curated into one app, it's an app and a website is unbelievable. Congratulations. Now, I have to ask you, what year in high school are you guys?
Oh, we're all juniors.
You're all juniors. So do you think that this coding is something that you want to pursue when you go into college?
Well, yeah, I personally really love computer science. It's the idea that you can, in a month, that we did in a month, create a tool that could really impact lives. It's something that I find amazing. And I think Leon here also wants to do computer science, but
I share their love to want to help people, but I actually want to pursue medicine. But I feel that medicine, coding, no matter what, as long as you're helping people, I think that's really important.
Well, I mean, the reality is today, whether you want to pursue a job in coding or in any other business or any other field, technology is actually pervasive
Definitely.
in all fields, and going forward even more so. So having a basis and understanding of coding and technology is basically understanding how the economy and business are going to work in the future. So I don't think your time is far from wasted.
Definitely.
You're gonna encounter a lot of technology when you get into medical school. Should you ever get there, I'm sure you will. And congratulations, it's really inspiring what you guys dreamt and were able to accomplish.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Hi, I'm here with these two gorgeous hip women who are part of the Dream It, Code It, Win It contest. And I am so inspired by you guys, I have to say. And, you know, all the news about women in getting into STEM, you're an inspiration. What made you decide to get into Dream It, Code It, Win It? And say who you are.
I'm Julie Gauthier. And I'm Olga Bogomolova.
And what made you decide to come to this Dream It, Code It, Win It contest?
So we actually recently pitched at the PACE Pitch Contest. We're involved with the PACE Entrepreneurship Lab up at PACE University.
You have 23 people watching you, and they're up there in that camera.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
Great.
Okay. So, you're saying you're in the PACE
So
Pitch
we're involved
contest?
in the PACE University Entrepreneurship Lab, and we were talking to our professor, Bruce Bockenheimer. We were talking about some opportunities that we had to earn some grant money in order to launch our startup. So Bruce recommended Dream It, Code It, Win It to us, and we're really glad that he did. It's a fantastic program.
That's amazing. So now, how did you guys get involved in coding to begin with? I mean, because, you know, there's all this press out there about how girls aren't pursuing math or science or whatever, but you guys are defying what is out in the press, and you're role models for society. So how did you guys decide that this is something that you wanted to do?
You know, I have a kind of funny story. I learned how to code by making MySpace layouts. When I was a little kid, my mom didn't like me to use the computer at all, but when my mom had to go to work, I liked to go onto the computer and play on social media. And I found MySpace, and I found that I could customize the MySpace layouts, and I loved doing that. Also, in my high school growing up, coding was more of a female thing than a male thing. A lot of times it was the girls who were making websites and doing that sort of thing, and it was the guys who were more involved in mechanics.
Oh, that's
when
great.
it came to technology.
That's great.
How about you?
And how about you?
So actually with me, I didn't get into tech until later in my life. So I was, I think it was a senior year of college. And I took this class as an elective. I had to, so I took it. And it was web development for not-for-profit. And my teammates, none of them were tech savvy, and I was, I guess, a little more than they were. So they were like, great, Olga, you'll make a website. So I did it, and I had a great professor who was a great mentor to Julie and I, and he spotted me, and he was like, you should come work for me, and he works at the computer science school. So I came to work with him as a student, and then he convinced me to pursue a degree in computer science for my master's. So I'm doing it now, and I absolutely love it. You know, I think I always loved making things when I was a kid, and somehow I got away from it when I was growing up, and I'm super glad I got back into it.
Well, you can tell just by your faces that you're passionate about it and that you think it's fun. So tell me about Codapillar. How did you decide? Because basically, your application is to inspire people to do just that. So tell me about Codapillar.
So you want to go? I've found throughout my undergraduate years that I really loved teaching. I'm really passionate about teaching others to code. I think it's going to be the most critical language that anyone can learn soon. And so I've been thinking about this platform for a while, just a way for people to get involved in coding, much like the way that I got involved in coding by just creating fun HTML and CSS things. So I kind of had an idea for the platform. One day, Olga and I were talking about some grants that are available to us as women in technology that maybe we should take advantage of. The ability to just travel and maybe teach coding abroad, which would be super fun. And so the next morning I was thinking about it, and the two ideas connected. And I texted Olga right away and said, hey, you got to get in on this project with me.
That's great. That's great. So you're scaling learning, and I love it. I love it. I mean, you're really helping the next generation because I agree. Coding is a language that everybody's going to have to at least have some basic knowledge of because it's going to affect every part of our everyday lives. So congratulations. So tell me about the process. Was it difficult? Was it, tell me what were the ups and downs and how do you feel now that it's all done?
Olga and I have been working on Codapillar for a while, and we're pursuing it as a startup company. So we kind of started just by figuring out exactly what we wanted to build and why we wanted to build it. Defining that, we've built a business plan, and we started doing some designs. I worked with a couple professors at the school, a design professor who's really fantastic and helped immensely in building out the designs for the platform. I've been coding, and I'm still coding, and I will continue to be coding and working on the platform, developing it.
That's great.
The thing is that we have a really good support network at our university, so we are very entrepreneurial. And along the way, our friends, our professors, our mentors help us to get through some hard times. And then Julie and I, we really do make great partners. It's like whenever one is up, the other one is down.
Oh, you
so
can
we
tell,
help.
you guys, you can see it, right?
We
You're
help each
standing
other
here.
through it. So, we absolutely love being on this awesome journey together, and I cannot wait to see where it takes us. And we were actually just talking today how we're so excited to see Codapillar grow and maybe change and evolve and affect more and more people across the country and hopefully across the globe. So our goal is to be big.
That's great.
And we hopefully we'll get there
Have
soon.
big dreams, big
Yes.
dreams.
Big
Well,
goals.
I will tell you that I just read from a blog about what makes entrepreneurs successful, and someone said, be obsessed, be obsessed, be obsessed. So I can tell you have that passion, so congratulations.
Thank you.
I wish you the best of luck with this contest and everything and everywhere it takes you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hi guys, how are you? Congratulations welcome to Dream It, Code It, Win It.
Thank you.
How are you guys doing? Who are you?
I'm Rick Malucci.
I'm Lauren Majori.
I'm Nellie Spector.
I'm Chloe Cowbish.
And where do you guys go to school?
You'll go to Stuyvesant.
Oh, it means you're smart. I've got all those smart Stuyvesant kids. So I hear that you guys went to a hackathon.
Yeah. So our project originated at a hackathon called Def Hacks that our mentor actually began, and I think we had around 50 people come to the hackathon overall. And so our idea came up because the day before we had parent-teacher conferences, and I was helping out as a part of like another thing in school. And it was just very chaotic. It's very chaotic because it's pen and paper. All the parents have to come and sign their names manually. So I thought like maybe we could do this better, especially because my dad was like complaining about it because like it's such a pain or whatever. So that's how it came
So
up
you're
with
solving a family problem. That's good.
Yeah.
I know, that's
Yeah,
good.
definitely. The idea of our program is to facilitate and like streamline the entire parent-teacher conferences. So as opposed to running up and down between the 10 floors of Stuyvesant High School, they can just go online, sign up for the specific teachers, and it's much easier for everybody.
That's great. So everyone's writing you a thank you note. So tell me about the process of coding and how you have the concept, and what was the process like working together and to solve these problems?
Yeah, so because we created it at a hackathon, we had one day to make our entire project.
8 hours.
Yeah, 8
Wow.
hours. And
Oh my
a
God.
lot of the things we used, we learned that day. Like it's built on the framework of Flask, and none of us had used it before that day. So we were learning it, doing it as we go, learning everything about it. So
It was also
Wow,
the first
8
time.
hours.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
8
also
hours.
also the first time that we really put together that many languages at the same time. Like we usually work in functional programming, so with just Java, like at school. But this is the first time that we really put together. Like we used HTML and CSS and Bootstrap for designing. We used Flask, Python, jQuery, JavaScript for like functional.
Yeah.
And like an assortment of things.
As a team, I think we all played to our strengths when putting it together.
So what were your responsibilities, each one of you?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, Nelly, go.
So I did the very back end part. I did the Python of putting together all the so the school had some documents about teachers and where they were, and I put that all together into things that could be used by our program.
so me and Chloe worked together on the Flask, writing the framework and the pages and the back end coding of the website. So
that's great.
And I worked on the design and like the exterior part, and like that encases all the encoding that they made.
The aesthetics?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, good for you. So now, how did you guys come together as a team?
So actually, well, we got to the hackathon not really sure what to do. Hackathons, usually you go there, you find a team as you go. And so I guess we just kind of paired up and we're like, oh, okay, so do you want to work together? We go to school together, so we kind of knew each other, but never like coded together. And so we worked together, it worked out. And I just remember like the moment that we really realized that we clicked was towards the end, when we had maybe a couple of minutes left and
They
one
were
person.
they were already judging all the other teams. They left us for last because they knew we were not quite done.
Yeah.
So it was just crazy.
We had the CIO of Google, a guy from Time Hop, people from like all over the place, just like here, coming around to each table, and we had someone come over and be like, okay, 2 more tables left, and we have errors coming in, and we're like fixing the errors.
it was really like a time crunch at the end to just get it all together.
When you finally got it together, was it a great feeling?
It was
Oh, it was
amazing.
awesome.
That's
We
great. You can tell you
We
guys
ended
are
up
excited
winning
about it.
the hackathon overall,
Yeah.
so that was really
Oh,
great.
wow.
Yeah.
And then the next day, so we realized that that Dream It Code It Win It was due the next day. We didn't
Oh,
know.
the next day. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah.
We didn't know anything about Dream It Could It Win It, and then like Rick messaged us like, hey, you guys want to do this?
Oh my
also?
God.
So
That's
2 hours
great.
before the deadline, we decided, let's make like a group Google Hangout, since we can't like come to a place together like to
To
meet
make
up.
the video.
So we made a Google Hangout. Chloe recorded it through what's it called? Not screenshotting. Screen
Just like
recording.
Screen
Yeah,
recording.
exactly.
So we made
Quick
the
time
video.
capture.
Yeah.
Good
all
for
in
you.
one take.
Except you
Together,
did that one day before.
Yeah,
Literally
that's
at 10
the hour
2
before.
hours. That is crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
God. Well, you
we
guys
really-
should be really proud.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
really
it
worked
took a lot of
together
love.
as a team to pull it all together, which
I
was
love it.
nice.
Like we all
That's
had
great.
so much homework to do, and we just we were like, screw
Well, because
it.
you had passion for it. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
That's great. So now, what grade are you guys in?
We're all
Juniors.
11.
We're juniors.
You're juniors. So do you plan on pursuing coding when you
Definitely.
go to? That's good for you.
Definitely.
And there's a dearth of girls who are coding. I mean, there's like
Yeah.
written all over the place. I love.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you guys are all together. I mean, it's awesome. You're supporting the greatest guys are the guys who support women. So I love that. So you're definitely pursuing code. How about you? Are you?
Yeah, I'm thinking about putting like CS and business together in the future. Maybe trying to work on like a project. I don't know. I haven't figured it out
You
yet.
don't have to
but
figure it out, but you just know you want to
That's
pursue
what
it.
college is for. Yeah.
That's good.
And,
Congratulations.
actually, we're all participating. Well, we are all participating in Code Day.
Another hackathon.
And yeah, that's
Oh, that's
great.
great.
So-
Congratulations. You're addicted. You're going
Yeah,
to all the hackathons.
Yeah, we're
Definitely.
going to all of them.
That's
trying it
good.
out, trying to think of new ideas.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. That's congratulations. Well, I can really
you.
tell you're enthusiastic and excited
Yeah.
about it. And I always say that these things show kids that coding can be really fun, and you guys really
Yeah.
exemplified that. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I wish there was a parent-teacher conference app for my daughter's school, so I might have you guys to transpose that.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, guys. Uh-oh. Hi, guys. How are you?
We're great.
Good. Now, who are you, and how are you here to Dream It, Code It, Win It?
Well, we're students from Stuyvesant High School. My name's David.
And my name's Eric.
And we're Team Fairies.
That's great. And tell me about your project and what problem you're trying to solve.
Well, so Fairies is an app that crowdsources delivery options. So basically, a user would post on the site something they want, some food they want delivered, such as chicken over rice from a halal cart, and then other users of the sites will become potential delivery people, and they would see the order from that person, and they would perhaps get it. They would negotiate with the person, take the order, and they would buy the food and bring it to the person at the specified time, and in return they would receive a little bit of commission fees. And basically, my partner Eric will elaborate more on it.
So we came up with this project. The idea came to us when a lot of students, every lunch period, would choose one person from whoever was sitting around near them to go outside and get food for everyone else. Because the problem was that in our school, if you go outside to get food, you can't return to the building until 5 minutes before the period ends. So a lot of people have to choose between staying inside and being with their friends or going outside and getting the food they want. So this initially, this started as...
It's a social need.
This started as a platform for students at our school to be able to get lunch for other students without those students having to suffer standing and waiting outside to come back indoors.
Very considerate of you. That's good. So, so you thought of this idea, and then what made you decide to bring it to life through this app and this crowd?
So actually this first started off as a class project. We came up with this idea and we liked it, and we found that we had to come up with a final project that this would be great for it, and it would be something we would want to expand on in the future besides from our project. So we started coding it using Python, JavaScript, API, things like that. And we all learned these tools from our classes at Stuyvesant High School under Mr. Zemansky, who runs the STY-CS programs. So basically we decided to come up with this app that would help people and help fix inefficiencies in places we saw had problems. So we decided, and we also saw it as a way for us to pursue our entrepreneur interests, because both me, Eric, and I have interests in possibly going in business, and also combining that with our CS interests. So we decided to create a business type CS app.
Congratulations, that's great. So tell me about the process of coding, and was it fun? Was it hard? I mean, what was it like for you guys?
So Eric actually has a pretty good story about that, and so you should tell him.
There was this one point on the last night that we had before the
32 hours.
Yeah, the night before our project was due for class, there was this one bug that was absolutely breaking everything, and we needed to figure this out. And I was in charge of the part of the project where that bug was, and I couldn't figure anything out, and I had absolutely no idea. I tried everything, and I was about to rewrite all my code, but it turns out that we wanted to use an integer, but we had a string, and that's all that it was. If we just turned the string into an integer, everything worked perfectly.
Oh my God, what was your feeling when you finally fixed it?
I was more mad than relieved. Yeah, it took a really long time to find.
How long did it take you?
4 or 5 hours.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
so you're frustrated.
Yeah.
So, but then how did you feel when it was finally done and you have everything going? I mean, was that a great feeling?
Yeah, it always feels good to finish a project.
That's great. So what would you say to kids who don't know how to code and are curious about it but intimidated? What would you say?
Well, these kids should always have an opportunity to code. Like, I know in the beginning I'm always intimidated to go to new things, and I think that there's a lot of great tools online like codester.com that has these like very colorful graphical images that teach people to code. I mean, like get students interested in coding because they see each line of code makes this like beautiful image that they love interacting with. It also makes games and things like that. So if they're intimidated at first, we can like help them ease through it using games that they can create, simple games that they can create using a couple lines of code. And we could also, so in the beginning, we first try to interest them in coding. That's what we should do.
That's great. Well, you should be thrilled. I mean, as far as, do you have anything to add as far as
Yeah.
how to get kids interested?
I'm always intimidated whenever I start learning anything new. Like when I started learning C, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. When I started learning Java after Python, I thought like everything I knew about coding was just thrown out and I had to relearn everything. So I think that all you really have to do is just start and just go with it, because a lot of like I didn't understand what was happening in Java until I really just made myself get into it. And if you don't know something, then Google it, because there are hundreds of thousands of people that have the same problems as you and want to learn. And like Stack Overflow, it's basically Yahoo Answers for coding, and you could find any question you have. There's an answer to it somewhere out there.
That's great. So it's a research. So was it a real collaboration? And are you now that you've won? What was it like when you found out that you won?
I was surprised, to be honest.
That's good. Were you happy? Did you jump up and down?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah.
Good. Congratulations. That's great.
Thank
How
you.
about you?
Same. I was also a little surprised. I actually did this last year also, and I wanted to do it again this year. And I was actually very flattered that I was again chosen this year to. The app that Eric and I created was chosen as a finalist in this competition.
Congratulations. Well, it's a big deal. I wish you the best of luck and keep coding. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
So tell me your name.
I'm Amelia Carpenter.
And how did you come to Dream It, Code It, Win It?
So my dad actually met Christina Dolan through a networking event, and on the last day before the submissions were due, we decided to make a video really fast in the middle of the night and submit it. And so it was a very last minute thing. I have no background in coding. But
here you are winning.
This event has really interested me in the field. And I actually, on the way up here, videotaped an application for a scholarship to the Flatiron School for Coding this summer.
Oh,
so
congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. So tell me about your project and what problem are you solving?
So I submitted a concept for a platform for leaders. I feel like high school leaders don't get enough support and they don't have room to grow as leaders. They sort of just fall into the position and are stuck there. And I've gotten coaching for leadership outside of school, and I think that it's a really valuable thing to bring into schools.
Congratulations. Yeah. What kind of skills does this application teach people?
Well, it would have three sources of advice and support. One from fellow leaders, where you can sort of share problems and see how other leaders dealt with it. And then the next part would be advice from professionals, so you can get really expert input, I guess. And then the last part is feedback from the people you're actually leading, so you see how effective or ineffective you are.
That's fantastic.
Thank
I wish
you.
I had that when I was younger. That's amazing. So tell me about, where are you in school and
I'm a junior at Lower Merion High School. Again, I have no coding experience. Computer science is not that large at my high school. It's a very general public school, but I'm definitely interested in science and engineering, but also finding some crossroads between design and engineering. So coding is actually, I realized through this competition, is a really useful tool to find that in the virtual world.
Great. Well, yeah, definitely inspires creativity
Yeah.
and thought process. Congratulations. So now, what was it like when you found out that you were a winner? What did you do?
Well, I was just finishing a really hard math test, and I was checking my emails, and it was kind of unreal because I submitted just as a what the heck, and just to get involved in the coding world, and I really didn't expect anything from it, so it was really surprising for me.
Well, congratulations. It means
Thank
that you
you.
had a great concept, and it means that there's something out there telling you that you should do more
Yeah.
of it. So congratulations.
you.
So what advice would you give for people who are intimidated by code and intimidated to try to submit to these type of programs and whatnot? So what advice would you give them?
Well, I was definitely that person 2 months ago. So I would say that you should just think about if you could solve any problem, which basically what this competition asks you to do. If you could solve any problem, what would you do? And then let coding be the tool you use to create that, instead of sort of being oh, I want to find some random skill that's coding, and then after I code, see what I can make of it.
So
I think
start with solving the problem.
Start with solving the problem, I think.
That's
yeah.
great. That's great advice. Well,
Thank you.
congratulations. I think you have a big future. I wish I had that leadership thing. I think it's a brilliant concept.
Thank you.
And, I think we could all use mentors and feedback more often.
Yeah.
So congrats.
Thank you.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Hi, we're good.
Who are you?
Our team is called Just Smile.
Just Smile. And so, and where do you guys go to school?
The Academy for Software Engineering. It's a public high school for teaching students how to learn to program.
That's great. So tell me about Just Smile and what problem you're trying to solve and how you came to dream it, code it, win it.
The problem we're trying to solve is that 1 out of 10 Americans suffers from depression, and we're trying to with our app, we're trying to make people smile and kind of cheer them up.
Well, I love that. You're trying to make the world a happier place. I love that. So tell me about how you came up with the concept of Just Smile and the coding that you had to put together to make this happen and how it works.
Well, we went through a process of trying to choose a theme that we wanted to work on. We kind of came together with depression because everyone in our families, or we all know somebody that suffers from depression.
It's a big problem. And then tell me about what you had to do to put this to code and solve the problems.
So we actually in school made mock-ups of the app because we didn't have enough time to code it. So we actually made screens of what we were going to develop later in the year, and so we're still working on our app also.
That's great. Tell me about your collaboration together. What roles did each one of you play?
So one role was doing the overview, basically coming up with what's the theme of the project, what are some features that are in the project, and how the functionality of it. Also, we did surveys, so we asked some people, would this app help? Would it work? Do you think that...
Is there a need for it?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there's definitely a need for it. Everybody has to smile more.
And I think just trying to communicate with others and try to make it a more social thing. And basically, I think we tried to basically share our own experiences to other people.
That's great.
It's kind of we kind of think of it as a real world problem. We had people researching, we had people coming up with the art side of it, and then we had people asking, like beta testing our app and like what we would.
That's great.
Yeah.
So tell me exactly how the app works.
I was helping Mona and build the app and, well, the mock-up at this point. But in the future, we would like to build it for an Android clientele because it's more accessible. And Mona did most of the work with it.
Well, basically in the app we have the slide where with the contact list where you're able to like if you're feeling down, you could like automatically just click on it and it would send to the people that you chose to put on your list, like to like talk to like take out whatever you're feeling. Like sharing sometimes helps a lot, and also there are tips, there are activities that you're able to do, like to get your mind off of it.
That's great.
One that stuck out to me was the jar. Like anything good that happens to you, you write it down and put it in a jar. And anytime you feel down, just open the jar and read all those good things, and it cheers you up.
That's great.
There's also a GPS location part where it wants to inform you that depression's bad and you should get help. So it kind of helps you look for the nearest pharmacy or the nearest hospital or treatment center.
That's great. So you really help them.
Yeah.
That's great. So how did it feel when you won?
It felt great. It really did.
How did you find out, and what did you do?
We got an email.
and then who got the email? All of you?
Yeah.
Okay, and did you go running? Were you in the same place, or were you in different places,
We were in
or what
different
did
places.
you do?
We were shocked. I was home.
That's good.
Yeah.
You jump up and down? Do you run to tell your parents?
I was excited. I was
That's
very
great.
excited.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. Because go ahead.
Because it actually kind of shows that we're actually making a difference.
Oh,
and
totally.
That's basically our goal.
So that's your goal. So you're making a difference, which is awesome. So do you guys? This is a very important question. Do you think coding's fun?
Yes, because I think coding's fun because there's an effect to it. Like what you do, it actually affects others, and
That's
I guess
great.
that's the goal for everyone.
That's great. Now, what would you say to someone who has never coded before but's intimidated?
To come to us, to basically learn the skill and realize that everything around us is based on almost computer science, and that technology is booming. So I
So
guess
get involved.
Get involved.
Yeah, go to the Academy for Software and Engineering. Is that it? So
AFSC.
that's great.
Just try it. You might not know what it is, and you're probably intimidated because you might think you're unable to do it, but like once you try it, it's easier and it's steps. It's not like you automatically become professional at it. You take steps, you practice, you do it again, you fail, you do it again, and that's what it is. Like it's the iterative process where like you do it, see, like plan, try to work it out, see if it doesn't work, do it again, and you continue, and you'll get better.
That's great.
And there's also thousands of online resources for like figuring out how to program. Like Khan Academy even has programming courses, and like I used to use W3 schools when I was first starting. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. So do you guys plan on pursuing computer science when you along your academic and professional careers as you know?
Yeah, most definitely. I enjoy it. I have fun doing it, and when I'm not, I'm sad.
Oh, that's good. You got to just smile, right? And I have to ask about the name. I love the name. So who came up with the name?
Yeah, it was probably, yeah.
We just wanted like something simple and catchy, and it was kind of like basically to make you smile. Just smile.
That's great. Great name. As a marketer, I think it's awesome. Congratulations, you guys, and I'm impressed. And I think you guys have really bright futures ahead of you, and it's a big deal that you won.
Thank you.
Hello, ladies. How are you?
We're good.
Good. I'm so glad. It was great to ride up in the elevator with you and see all these bright faces. So welcome to Dream It, Code It, Win It. And I want to hear about your projects and what problems you're solving. So first, introduce yourselves.
Okay. I'm Emily Casper.
Hi, I'm Molly Carroll.
I'm Alex Blanos.
I'm Isabella Labasi.
I'm Kylan Askew.
And I'm Janelle Maxwell.
I'm Allie Macello.
And you guys go where? To what school?
Common of the Sacred Heart.
That's great. So I want to hear about your projects and what problems you're solving.
Okay, so we actually have multiple projects, but the one, like my group, we're called the Green Team, and we invented an app called the Mobile Muncher. And basically we're hoping to reduce carbon dioxide emissions by creating like essentially a carpooling app for going out for lunch or for going to get coffee and things like that. And we're just hoping to lower our carbon footprint.
I love that. What inspired this idea? It's a fantastic idea.
Probably, you want to talk about
Sure. We noticed a lot of our classmates going to the same place in different cars for lunch or to get coffee, like we said before. So we realized that it was like kind of, I don't know, wasteful, yeah. So we decided that there should be a way to see where other people in your school or business are, and so you can send your order and, yeah.
That's great. And tell me about the process of coding for this. I mean, was it difficult?
Well, what we ended up doing was using this platform online called appery.io to like design our app, and that was really interesting, and it was cool because you could kind of preview how it would actually look on the screen of an iPhone and things like that.
That's fantastic. And then were there frustrations along the way, and how long did it take you to do it? And, you know,
I'd say, yeah, our school has been really great about coding. We have multiple computer science classes. We have people in like robot design classes from freshman year, so it was a relatively easy process. Like
that's fantastic, because you know there's all this press about how girls don't want to code, and here we are. We have all of you guys here, and you're role models for the future. So I love it, and it is really important because I think there isn't a business or an institution that isn't going to be affected by technology. So let's hear about some of the other projects.
Well, our group project, we worked on a safety app because a lot of us are rising freshmen in college, so we wanted to be more proactive about like keeping track of where we are at all times. So our app, it focuses on, it compiles your local ambulances, police, animal control, and like other emergency contacts into one app, and then you'd be able to press a button, it would immediately call your most local one and send them your location based on a map and like geolocation already built into your phone. And there's also a camera feature, so if you don't know exactly where you are, just like send a quick picture to whoever you're trying to contact so they can better locate you. It's kind of like a mobile blue light system, so you can be safe at all times.
That's great. My daughter is also a rising freshman in college, and I'm going to make sure that she gets this application because she needs to be safe. So what inspired this idea? You guys were nervous about going away, or you know, what was the problem? How did you see this problem?
Well, basically what we saw is that a lot of times when people have like emergency issues, they don't like know who to call or where to tell their location is. So we completed this app so that we could show people that it's easy to like contact these emergency people and they could know where you are without even you having knowledge of that. And also it's all in one app, so you can just like press a button and it'll be there for you.
Good for you. So now I have to ask this question. Are you going to continue to code and pursue computer science when you go to college and beyond?
Possibly.
That's good. So now there's a third project here, right?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay.
So my app is the My Closet app.
And I can tell you're a fashionista, okay? I appreciate the fashionista.
I just wanted to make an app that, you know, like I would like to use too. But it would be like you would scan your closet and all of the like articles of clothing would go into this app. So you would basically have your own closet in the app, and then you could make outfits through that and have other people make outfits for you. And you could turn on like your location services, and like you could type in like what area you're going to or like a restaurant or something and see like what other people wore that day. And like, so yeah, I just thought it would be
So you
fun.
never have to worry about wearing the same outfit
Yeah.
as your girlfriend. I love that.
Yeah.
That's good. And you're archiving all your clothes. That could take me a long time.
Yeah.
But I love it. I mean, it's really great. For any fashionista, I think that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Plus, you rediscover clothing that you probably forgot about,
Yeah.
at least. So I love that. So I have to ask all of you, what inspired you to enter this contest, and how did it feel when you found out that you guys were winners?
Well, I think we were inspired because our science research teacher was like really enthusiastic about it, and there's an alumna here who actually she runs the started it. So yeah, we were all excited to really just like enter it and
That's
share our
great.
ideas.
So do you want to tell me, tell me about, does everybody at your school code, or, how did you guys decide that you wanted to pursue this as part of your education?
Everyone at our school is given the opportunity to code, but it's not something that's forced. So those who want to join the program are really enthusiastic about doing it because they're able to choose what they want to do. And in our program specifically, you're not required to research one specific thing. You can find what you're interested in and then apply the coding to what you want to do.
I'm going to go back and go to your school. That's very cool. So is everybody as enthusiastic as all of you about coding that are in the program?
Yeah, pretty much, because it's really focused on what you want to learn, not what someone else is trying to teach you.
That's wonderful. So now what would you say to a young person, particularly a young girl, who's intimidated to code, or feels like they maybe aren't good at math or aren't good at these type of things and don't want to pursue it? What would you say to her?
I would say kind of don't get yourself caught up in that, because it's just a new experience and something that you should try at least once, and definitely it's not something to be worried about.
Also, it's where the future is really STEM. So there's really a lot of job opportunities to pursue in coding and engineering and science, math. So I would say go for it.
That's great. So tell me about when you found out, you got the email that you won. What did you do?
Molly actually emailed me, and I remember we were just texting back and forth. We were so excited. We couldn't wait to come to this. Yeah. That was pretty much it. We were so excited because we really didn't think we stood a chance. We couldn't believe it, So.
Well, that's wonderful. I'm very impressed by all of you. And for a company that I work for, a media company, Meredith Corporation, that reaches 100 million women, and we try to inspire women and girls to do great things every day. You guys are really inspiration for me. So, and I'm gonna use, when you guys get it all up and running, I'll use all of it. I want to be green, I want to be safe, and I want great clothes. So, all right. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Brian. Janine Chow Collins, how are you today? I'm great. Good. So tell me about how you got involved with Dream It, Code It, Win It.
Well, I was invited to be a speaker. One of my employees knows the program well and thought I would be someone who might be a good, good speaker.
That's great. Are you a coder, or why did he pick you? She.
Well, yeah, so I started my first company in high school.
Oh, in high school. Good for you.
Started to build websites when I was only
So that does make you perfect, right? Good for you.
And been a serial entrepreneur. I started 7 companies in those 7 years.
7 companies. Was he off? Do we have to do it again?
Means it's not on. Green light means it's on. Start again.
All right,
I'm here.
Here we go. Brian, good to see you. So how did you get involved in Dream It, Code It, Win It?
One of my employees knew the program well and thought I'd be an interesting person to come speak.
That's great. Well, I hear that you are a serial entrepreneur and that you started a company when you were these kids' age?
Yeah, so I started my first company in high school and started another one in college and kept going. And so I've now started 7 companies.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I know, I'm very tired.
So what was your first company, and what inspired you at the age of 16 or 17 to start a company? Most people just can't get out of their own way.
Yeah, well, I kind of fell into it. I grew up in Oregon, and my school district was getting rid of a bunch of old Apple II computers, and I naively said, well, why don't you give them to families that need them? And they said, oh, we're not a nonprofit, which was odd because it was a public school district. But they said, I'll sell them to you, for $5 a piece. And so some friends and I bought the computers from them, sold them out of a garage, made $15,000 or $16,000.
Oh my God.
Donated the proceeds back to the school district, actually to our high school.
Congratulations.
And we paid for our own graduation.
Congratulations, that's fantastic.
Cool. And they were like, well, now what? And so the internet was just starting. This was 1995.
Wow.
And so some local businesses were like law firms or something were like, we need to build websites. And we're like, yeah, we can do that. Of course, having no idea how. And I'd taken a programming class here and there. And so with a buddy of mine, we sort of used the money we had to buy printers and computers and Photoshop, and we started building websites. And so when I went to college,
this is 1995. This is like a
the
different
very
era
beginning
of the internet.
Yeah.
Right.
And so we were like early website builders, and we started building more and more complex things, and one thing led to another, and that was the first company. It was called iceweb.com. And because we invested all of our profits back into equipment and also into like pizza, the only money we ever made was selling the website, the URL, for like 15 grand.
Oh wow! Congratulations! And then what led to what? What was that? What was after that?
Oh, company after company. But now, I'm the CEO and the founder of, I think, the largest tech startup in New York City.
Congratulations!
So, and my co-founder of my very first company still works for or with me at AppNexus, my new company.
That's amazing.
So we've been in almost all these companies.
So you've grown up together in a way.
20 years now.
That's amazing.
Isn't that wild?
That is amazing. And it was like a calling. I mean, you started this at this age. And so what is it about this event that you find important?
Well, I think that, if you look at what I've done, I never thought that I couldn't build something. This idea of, can you build a website? Well, why not? And that's what I think these kids have done, is they've said, well, I can go build something. I can create something. And this is the next generation of entrepreneurs. Many of them don't know that they're going to be entrepreneurs or going to be part of creating the things that matter the most to the world. And I love that spirit of, exactly what this is called, right? If you can dream it, you can create it. And what this world needs is people who create things and who start life early just building and creating, and this will be the future.
What advice would you give to a young person who's intimidated by coding or wanting to create something or build, even if they have an idea?
Well, coding is just a set of rules, right? I mean, everything you use that's technological comes from effectively very simple code. And so my experience has been that if you can think of something you want to build, there's so many websites and tutorials. I mean, the very first website I built was not because I like invented it. I found some example that someone else did and copied and pasted what they did and started changing stuff until I could figure out how changing this little bit would make that little bit change. And so the sense of like, this huge chasm between where you are and where you want to be, there's so many people who have paved the way before. And if you just follow in their footsteps, if you get mentors and ideas and friends, like it's not that hard to just incrementally take one
So
step
it takes a
towards
village,
that goal.
a collaboration.
Well, of course, but you have that on the internet. The internet is that village. And
That's
so, you can literally just follow the steps. You can go to Code Academy and teach yourself JavaScript in a couple of days. There's nothing you can't learn. And that's the hardest part, I think, for people is it seems so hard. It's called computer science. Oh my gosh, science.
Yeah, that's totally true.
But let me ask you a question. How much physics does it take to drop an apple?
Your hand.
If you've never learned physics, and I gave you an apple, could you tell me what direction it would go when you let go of it?
Of course.
Right. You don't have to know computer science to be able to use a computer or to make a computer do really cool things. You just have to know a couple of simple rules, like when you drop an apple, it hit the ground, right? With a computer, there's very, very simple, like incredibly simple things you can do to make a computer do stuff you've never imagined, or a phone, or a robot.
Well, that's very inspiring.
So that to me is what I think everyone here has figured out.
That's great.
The secret they don't want you to know is that it wasn't all that hard, right? And if everyone in the world knew that, then we'd have a wholly different way of looking at the world we live in.
Well, it's important for the future economy. So, if more people got involved, we wouldn't necessarily have some of the issues that we have economically.
Yeah, but more than the future economy, the future of humanity.
Right.
Look at how technology's brought us together and brought us closer. And so I think, if everyone around the world is able to create, I do truly believe that the world will be a much better place than if we are all sitting here about,
it's so
about
interesting.
money.
It's so interesting that you say that, because I asked the kids when I was interviewing them earlier, what do you like about coding, or what inspires you to do this? They said, and most of them said, I want to change the world.
Yeah.
Impressive. So.
Thank goodness.
Very impressive. So, as far as this event and getting involved with it and being on the panel, do you think more events like this should exist in different places, and how does that happen?
Well, I think that anything we can do to encourage young people to create things will make the world a better place. Now, this particular event, we could replicate as long as there's people in the communities, whether that's a global community, a national community, a local community, who want to come together and celebrate acts of creation. And so, yeah, this is a great way to share, the bounties of technology with all of these people. And I would encourage everyone who's thinking about how can I foster the spirit of what technology is. It's just new ways of doing old things or new ways of doing new things. Let's celebrate it. Let's get this out in high schools. Let's get it out in colleges. Let's go out into our communities and say, let's see what you can do.
That's great. And what advice would you give to a budding entrepreneur? Like, what are the things that they should be prepared for?
Entrepreneurship is the hardest thing, period, that I've ever done. It's a serial failure is what I call myself. With a couple of lucky moments where before I had time to fail, someone came in and bought the company. But we're all going to die.
Right.
Right? So seriously, this is all just a path towards death. No company will live forever. It's only a question of how fast and how big you can make it on your way there. And so if you think of it as a different metaphor for a company, being an entrepreneur is like being a parent. It's being willing to bring something into this world that's inherently tenuous and fragile. And as a parent, I just, every day, look at my daughter and watch her grow, and there's a part of me that just is already mourning the moment when she no longer wants to wake up and snuggle with me, or she goes off to college and I don't get to spend every moment with her. And I feel like companies are like that. So if you're an entrepreneur, you're bringing into the world something of great beauty, of great potential, and almost inevitable, destruction. My company started in my apartment, the one I run now, AppNexus. And there were 2 of us. It was mine. And now we have almost 1,000 people, and we're all around the world. And it's not mine anymore. It's so much greater than it could ever have been if it were mine.
But you have to let go of certain parts of it as you go.
You have to be willing to let go.
Let it grow up.
You have to be willing to let it fail. You have to be willing to fail yourself in very public and painful ways. And so, Being an entrepreneur is like being a parent in so many ways that, you start companies for the same reason you start a family. Because you truly want to bring something new and greater than yourself into a world where everything is fragile. And, we really can't cling on to anything.
That's great advice. So entrepreneurs should think of themselves as birthing something. I love that. So.
And you have all the same obligations as you do with a young child.
So-
My sister has had a baby. My friends have. I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be just the worst thing you've ever done for the first year. You will get you will think you enjoy parenting that first year, but you are deluded. And starting companies, same thing. It's absolutely miserable.
That's fun.
Until you get to a certain
I
scale.
like that. So do you think being an entrepreneur really prepared you for parenthood?
I think being a parent made me a better entrepreneur.
Oh, interesting.
I think that, the lack of sleep is definitely something that I've trained myself for. But the sense of commitment I have to my daughter, the sense of, just, I don't know, like seeing her psychology. Like, if you want to understand the people who work for you, I can't tell you how many times I've compared my employees and my clients to my 5-year-old. And it's like the same, budding personality traits and behaviors. Like when she runs to me and says, "Daddy, can I have it?" and I say no, and she runs to mommy and says, "Can I have it?" I'm like, my employees do exactly the same thing. And I say, seriously, you're acting like my 5-year-old. This is the best management technique ever. They will stop.
This is great, great business advice.
Stop acting like my 5-year-old.
I love it. That's great. Well, thank you. You're an inspiration. I mean, doing it again and again and again means a lot. And the fact that you've been successful is fantastic. So congratulations. And thank you for being part of this.
Oh, my pleasure.
Okay.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Now, who am I talking to?
You're talking to Margot Rashad.
And who are all of you lovely ladies?
We're from the Young Women's Leadership School of Astoria.
That's great. And congratulations. How did you guys get involved in Dream It, Code It, Win It?
Actually, our teacher saw it on Facebook, so when she introduced it to us, we really wanted to get involved. So we tried our best to make a game to the fullest of our capacity and be able to submit it to this amazing contest.
That's great. So tell me about your project and what problems you're solving.
So in our school community, we saw that a lot of people didn't know how to eat healthy. We saw a lot of junk and like a lot of bad things. So this game is trying to help people learn the options, the eating option, healthier eating options, and just choosing better foods overall.
That's great. So you're helping people live longer. That's awesome.
Definitely.
So tell me about your app and how it works and what it's called and the whole thing.
Okay, so our video game is called Healthy Bunch. It first starts off with teaching the players the basics, like what helps what. The fruits help the eyesight, the bones, your blood, and vegetables as well. The second level is a bit more challenging from what you learn. You drag and drop to what helps. Like, for example, carrots help the eye, and it's testing the knowledge. And then the third level is a little bit more of a challenge, giving them more.
So your
matches.
gamification of becoming healthier.
Game.
Good for you. So tell me about the coding process and putting this all together. You have a vision, and what inspired the vision, you said, but what was it like to put it all together?
So starting off at first, we came up with this vision. We're like, yeah, let's do this. And we each kind of separated the game into we worked on each, into levels that we each worked on. But we were, of course, coming together and helping each other build, solve any problems that we were having. Because we always were running into these like little problems, like, oh wait, how do we do this? How do we connect this part of the game to this one? But thanks to collaboration is very important when you're coding, and that's something that I'm very grateful that I had a team for.
Well, that's a very important point because I think a lot of people have perception that coding is a very isolated practice, but you guys, you're shaking your head, no, no, no. It's all about collaboration. That's great.
It
Is it fun? Do you guys like coding? Is it fun?
Yeah, we find coding very fun, even though it looks a bit complicated. We always find like joy out of it. Like when a code comes out right, we're all like screaming of happiness because we got it right and we did it ourselves.
So very satisfying.
Yeah, really.
That's great. I mean, and what was it like? Congratulations when you find out that you won. Like what happened?
It was amazing. I got the email and started calling everyone who in the team, and we were like screaming.
Were you at home? Were you in the street? Were you
yeah.
like screaming? Like were people?
I opened my email and I saw like Dream Code winner. I was like, okay, let me check it, and it was like, congratulations, you're the winner. It was like the most amazing feeling in the world to know like all our work paid off into this like winning something
That's
so amazing.
great. And it sounds like you had obstacles along the way that you had to solve. That's great. So are you all planning on pursuing computer science when
Definitely.
Oh my God, look at this. That's wonderful.
It's like
I
our
have
dream.
to say, there's so much press about girls and code and how girls aren't going to go. You guys are an inspiration. What would you say to that young girl who doesn't think she can do it or is scared? What would you say to her?
I personally would say, like, coming from a family who's always studying medicine and everything, like, I thought I couldn't do it. I didn't think I could actually code. But I guess, like, I took the risk, and risk may not always be, like, fun, but I guess you can find your identity, you find your abilities, and to the girls who don't know what code is and don't know if they can, I think you can do anything. At least try it.
That's great. That's great advice.
Can I add one more thing? So at MIT, I went to MIT, and this Dream It is my dream today. They're my colleagues. They are my new youngest colleagues. So the dream is that every person, every kid will grow up and in school will be able to learn what we've learned at MIT, that we solve the world's most pressing problems and we become innovators with technology. And we use technology and engineering to collaborate, to learn all these skills of innovation. And I think that's what Global Laurea does in their school and in the other schools that we're in. And they're learning it as part of a school curriculum, which is really unique.
That's fantastic.
And
I
that's
have to
their
say, oh my God, you're a teacher. You look like you're one of the students. That's amazing. So you must be, I mean, everybody should hail you. I mean, look at what you created all this enthusiasm and passion for something. So, my congratulations. So tell me about your program and, how you get all these people so excited about what they're learning.
Well, like obviously, thanks to the program Global Laurea, which is like super organized. It's so easy to handle the program. They just they move at their own pace. They learn with each other and they help each other. So now, right now we have like interns that are experts and help the others. And right now we have like over here, I have 4 interns and I have 3 upcoming interns. And it's just like it is awesome to see girls coding and like really coding because it's their passion.
That's fantastic. Well, I can see the passion.
Yes.
I'm very impressed. I mean, I think that you guys, I hope that this video goes out to everyone because you're really an inspiration. And,
And talking about the video is it was a true collaboration because these are my coders over here, but here are my filmmakers.
Oh,
and
great.
They were the ones that collaborated with them to make that possible. So they told them what they made the game about, and they went on and created
Well, I think that create is a very key word. I think not everybody understands that how creative coding and computer science can be. So you guys are an inspiration. I mean, you saw a problem, you created something. It's amazing. So now, how are you celebrating your win? That's good. And what grade are you guys in?
10th graders, 12th graders. We have seniors,
That's
juniors,
great.
and sophomores over here.
That's great. So I guess for the seniors, do you think that this type of program helped you get into college?
Oh yeah, definitely. It definitely contributes to like your resume, and colleges love to see that
you're engaging in other activities that like help you grow with your skills and everything. I love it. I love the opportunity. Colleges love it.
You can tell you love it. That's great.
Well-rounded.
That's great. And for you juniors, are you going to try to look for computer science programs in the college that you're seeking?
Definitely. I think that computer science is something that's like really rising up in the world since technology really is the future. And I thought that if I could be part of that future, that'd be like an amazing
Hey,
experience.
it's very smart.
Yeah.
It's smart. You know, we say, and I work for More Magazine, and we say that if we want to do anything about the gender gap in pay and jobs, women have to really understand code. So you guys are really part of the future, so congratulations.
Thank you.
Hi, how are you? So introduce yourselves and tell me how you got involved in Dream It, Code It, Win It. I understand it's a 2-year deal for you guys. Double the trouble. No pun
Double
intended.
trouble. My name's David. This is Jack. We're both dual degree students at Penn. We're studying finance and computer science. We originally got involved in Dream It, Code It, Win It last year. We were part of the I don't know who I'm looking at.
Yes.
Okay, got you. We originally got involved in Dream It, Code It, Win It. Let me start over.
Yeah, keep going.
We originally got involved in Dream It, Code It, Win It last year. We were part of the ICS program. Mike Zemansky is kind of a visionary, and he really got us involved in the program, inspired us to study computer science and submit our project. And I think the momentum and confidence that we got from last year really helped us decide to kind of come back and build this new product that we think is really important.
Well, tell us about it. It is a very important project. I'm very inspired by your vision, and I actually think it's going to save a lot of lives and make people safer all around the world. So tell us about your project.
Thanks. Jack, why don't you...
Sure. So, I mean, every college student knows someone who's been affected by sexual assault. And so our product is a wearable wristband to sort of try to prevent that and keeps track of your alcohol consumption levels so that when you're out partying at night, you can check your app, your own iPhone app, and have sort of instant feedback on how drunk you are. And the idea is to sort of make it social and fun, and it's sponsored by universities or by Greek Life.
And it's a cool looking app, a cool band, correct?
Yeah, it is. We think the idea is to gamify it and make it sort of a fun part of campus culture and also something that makes students more safe.
That's great. I mean, it's a very important thing with everything in the news about, sexual assault on campus. I mean, you said you knew people, and what inspired you to try to code against this, controversial topic?
I mean, I think at some point, coding is a really powerful tool, and the question becomes, how do you channel that into something that's really impactful? You can build the next Facebook, and that changes communications, but how do you change the way people live, and how do you improve their lives almost? And I think this was an opportunity that we said, we have this idea, either we do it now or we don't, and it has such a great opportunity to help people. We have to go do this now.
That's great. So now you guys are obviously inspired coders. What would you say to someone who's intimidated by the prospect of coding and, who's like, oh my God, I'm not good at math, I can't do that, I'm not a genius, I'm not, what would you say to them?
I would say that they should get started early, right, where there's less risk in high school. I also think a lot of the pressure isn't really on the student, right? Like if they have a high school or some more programming that's available to them, that's going to give them an opportunity to sort of break past that barrier. And it's up to the institutions, high schools around the country to start making that programming more available so that students at a young age are saying, hey, this isn't so hard. I mean, the two of us, we came into high school loving politics and business, no thought of computer science in our minds.
Really? So you didn't wake up in utero saying, I want to be a coder?
And we got to Stuyvesant and they said, you're taking computer science, mandatory, everyone's taking computer science. And we did really well and loved the work we were doing. Said, hey, this isn't that intimidating. This is a career we could pursue. And from a lot of these high schools with big computer science programs, you're also seeing a lot of underrepresented groups, more women, more minorities getting into computer science. Because when you mandate computer science in high school, you sort of reduce that barrier off the bat.
That's great advice. So what was it like? I mean, congratulations. Here you are, 2 years in a row, winning. You know, what did it feel like when you found out that you won? And you won for this great device that's going to help save people's lives.
It was really exciting, and I think I really appreciate all the work that Dream and Code It when it does, this competition, all its sponsors. And I think that the number one thing is sort of, it gives you the confidence to build out the product, because you sort of have this idea, you don't know what the market interest is, and when you're given sort of a little bit of capital and support from Dream It Code It in its network, and from the institution itself, that sort of gives you the confidence to say, hey, this product is really viable, it's something we need to move forward with, it's something that people care about.
That's great. Now, was it just the two of you working on Safe Night Out, or do you have a team of people behind you? I mean, or do you ever sleep? Do you, what's the story?
I mean, right now I would just say it's the duo. We're working on it together. The idea is to kind of get a prototype out there, and then we'll start building it out with a team. So right now we're software developers, so we kind of made progress on the software side. And the next step is really to make sure we can make progress on the hardware side. So we have a wearable, kind of an example to show you.
Testing.
Say, hey, this is what it looks like. And that's
May I have your attention?
I'm impressed. You guys obviously get along well. Next,
Excuse me. May I have your attention? May everyone start heading into the auditorium. The students should be sitting in the areas on the left. Sponsors in the reserved seats.
Is everybody coming in from the reception area? Is everybody already inside? Okay. So welcome to the second annual Dream It, Code It, Win It celebration. I'm Christina Dolan. I'm the organizer, and the whole purpose for this celebration is really to encourage students to pursue a career in computer science by demonstrating how creative computer science can be. We have 14-year-old girls creating the most amazing software applications, use hardware, solving very interesting problems. I like to make this analogy. One of my favorite children's books is Harold and the Purple Crayon. And if you recall, Harold has these adventures with his purple crayon, and he goes out and solves all these problems, and he makes mistakes and causes other problems, and he solves more problems. But the thing's kind of interesting. Nobody ever describes him as a crayon engineer or a crayon specialist. They think of him as a boy who's having an adventure, right? And that's kind of what I like to think about computer science as. And so our panelists today are really amazing, and they're going to share their own experiences about the opportunities that technology has offered them and how we can attract a more diverse group of students. And they're also going to leave us with some thoughts in terms of how we can be better mentors, better educators, and as a community, how we can encourage more students to take computer science. But the real stars today are the students. And if you didn't see their videos outside, I encourage you to go to dreamitcoditwinit.org and check out the finalist videos, because they've done some amazing work, and we wouldn't have time to show all those videos. So I wanted to tell you that 50% of our students that applied were women, which is kind of amazing, because you'll hear later on. Last year, 4 of the teams actually started companies, 2 of them high school teams, and they actually got their funding by coming to this event. But we wouldn't have this event if it wasn't for the people who made this happen, the people who helped us raise the money. I first want to thank Mark Rebler and the MIT CDC New York, who actually helped raise the first checks that actually got this thing launched. And I want to thank Philippe Johannick, who underwrote a large part of the event. And then I also want to thank our sponsors, Cooper Union, Estee Lauder, Morgan Stanley, Kaplan, Microsoft, 30 Weeks, Steve Tucker, and Fitz Hutt, and the Internet Society that is actually taping this and sharing this with the whole world live. And there are a lot of other people who have helped, and I'm sorry for not mentioning you. But now what I'd like to do is move this along and introduce our MC, Jason Ponton. Jason is the editor-in-chief and publisher of the MIT Technology Review and the chairman of the MIT Enterprise Forum. As the editor-in-chief of the MIT Technology Review, Jason is responsible for the editorial direction and media platforms and business strategy of this widely respected media company. He also serves as chairman of the MIT Enterprise Forum, the global technology entrepreneurial arm of the company. Jason was born in London, raised in Northern California. He was educated in England and at Harrow and Oxford University. We look forward, Jason, to your insights, and we're very excited to have you join us this evening.
Thank you, Chris. If I just may say a few words as the chairman of the Enterprise Forum, we have 28 chapters all around the world, and candidly, they vary in quality, but the best ones have something in common. They have a leader like Christina Dolan who brings passion and a vision. So thank you very much for making the Enterprise Forum proud. So, on to tonight. Dream It, Code It, Win It is a celebration of creativity in computer science with around $70,000 in prizes for college and high school students. This is the second year of the event. Last year, more than 45 countries from some of the most prestigious schools around the world were represented in the global competitions. College and high school students were awarded a variety of cash prizes for their creations, which range from computer software, phoneware, to apps and robotics. Women, as Christina just said, made up the majority of the diverse applicant pool, and 4 of the teams have started their own companies. The event won the Charitable Works Award and was honored by MIT's own volunteer honor roll. It is a different kind of event from the hackathons, which have become so popular, but at least to my taste can be fairly arid competitions and kind of a little bit neurotic in their gerbil-like focus on producing a piece of software by the end of a period of time. Dream It, Code It, Win It is different because the students have to find an interesting problem, a problem that's actually worth solving, and then work together collaboratively to solve it using computer science. And that appeals to me personally because it tends to attract a different type of solver. I think one of the reasons why women are so well represented in this competition is because the problems being worked on are ones they actually care about. Typically, as you heard, a hackathon tends to attract around 11% women, but this format has been very different. Students from all over the world have made submissions. This year, even from Pakistan, where, because for a variety of reasons, they didn't have the ability to upload their submissions through YouTube. So the finalists here today represent the most creative solutions to problems from virtual reality to biological applications and even simulation platforms. I think the event is also important insofar as it is beginning to play a part inside the innovation ecosystem of New York. The new Chief Technology Officer appointed by Mayor de Blasio, Minerva Tan-Toko, calls New York City the second largest tech capital in the world. Second largest, ahead of Tel Aviv and ahead of Boston. And New York is filled with opportunity, which is why we need to engage with students. The largest industries here in the New York area are finance, media, and technology. And we have speakers tonight who will speak about how disruptive innovation creates opportunities that make these industries look very different as a result of tech. We'll hear from a dynamic panel of women that will talk directly about gender diversity in the pipeline and what's working, but more importantly, what isn't working. And they'll also tell you a little bit about what you can do to help. This celebration is just one way we can encourage a more diverse group of students to participate in computer science. So I believe next on the list, Christina, is that I am to have a conversation with Mitch Resnick. Is that correct? So, Mitch Resnick is the Professor of Learning Research at the MIT Media Lab. He develops new technologies to encourage young people to immerse themselves in more creative learning experiences. His lifelong kindergarten research group collaborated with the Lego Company on Mindstorms and We Do robotic kits. Any of you who have young children will have encountered these. And the group has developed the Scratch programming software and online community used by millions of young people around the world. He also co-founded the Computer Clubhouse Project, an international network of 100 after-school learning centers where youth from low-income communities learn to express themselves creatively with new technologies. Mitch has a Bachelor of Science in Physics from Princeton, which we shall try not to hold against him, because he has a Master of Science and a PhD in Computer Science from MIT. He was awarded the McGraw Prize in Education in 2011. Now, Mitch couldn't be with me now, but there he is behind me, so I'm going to turn to him and ask him questions this way. I'm sorry if the people here can't see me. So your research, Mitch, has inspired so many children around the world. Your Scratch software is now 8 years old, used by 6.4 million users, 10 million monthly users to the website, 15K new projects are shared each day on the site, and your Lego Mindstorm has launched the first Lego competitions around the world. So a simple question, what inspired you to create the Lifelong Kindergarten Learning Group?
Well, thanks. It's great to be joining. So be there in person, but it's nice to get a chance to talk. Our group was inspired by the way that young people learn in kindergarten. I've always been inspired when I look at a kindergarten, a traditional kindergarten, and I see children are constantly designing things, creating things, building towers with blocks, making pictures with finger paint, and I see them developing as creative learners. And too often after kindergarten, they move into a school system where information is being delivered and they're filling out worksheets. So I think what we were trying to do is to take that kindergarten approach to learning, where kids are constantly designing, creating, experimenting in collaboration with one another, and extend it to learners of all ages. And some of the technologies that you mentioned, like Lego Mindstorms and Scratch, were specifically developed to extend that kindergarten approach to learners of all ages.
So I've got a weird question for you. So how has your work evolved over the years, and what role has community played? Or let me put it another way. What do you know now that the community taught you? What did you learn?
Oh, well, I think we've learned an incredible amount. You know, I got started with this. My mentor was Seymour Papert, and his core ideas about children learning through designing are still fundamental to the work we're doing. But it's only in the last 15 years or so that children have been able to share their work with one another around the world. So we've had this great advantage as we've launched Scratch, not just have a programming environment for children, but an online community they can build on each other's work and also continually make recommendations to us. So we're constantly learning and being taken by surprise. As you mentioned, there's 15,000 new projects every day. So we're constantly seeing things that we never imagined. Children creating their own tutorials to help others in the community learn. Children remixing each other's projects, building on what others have done before them. Children collaborating, even crowdsourcing. As they work on a project, they ask others in the community to contribute to their projects. So we see young people today using the online community to support the creative activities they're doing. It wouldn't have been possible in the past.
There's a great debate at the moment about whether or not all children should be taught to code, in the same way that we teach basic literacy and arithmetical skills. On the one hand, some people say that coding is a guild discipline for people who code professionally. And other people say it's like critical reasoning, and it teaches fundamental skills. So my question for you is, should everyone learn how to code? And if they should, at what depth?
For me, I think it's very similar to learning to write. And you could ask the question, should everyone learn to write? And actually 500 years ago, not everyone agreed on that question. But today, I think we all agree that everyone should learn to write, even if they're not going to grow up to become professional writers, professional journalists or novelists, to write for magazines like Technology Review, they still should learn to write. And I do see it's the exact same with coding. Of course, some people will grow up to become professional programmers, and there's great career opportunities. But just the same way that everyone should learn to write, even if they won't be professional writers, I really do believe that everyone should learn to code, even if they won't become professional coders. Because as with writing, coding allows people to express themselves, to be able to share their ideas with others, to communicate. Also, it helps you organize your thinking in ways, the same way that writing helps you organize your thinking. So the same way that everyone should learn to write, to express their ideas, to organize their thinking, I think exactly the same is true for coding.
And if nothing else, it would stop MBA-trained CEOs from making unreasonable demands on their development teams. I'm sorry to the CEOs in the audience. I'm one myself, so I'm equally guilty. You have launched the Code to Learn Foundation, which is really interesting, Mitch. Can you tell us a bit about it and the mission?
Yeah. So even the name we chose, Code to Learn, it's twisting around learn to code. Because in our mind, the most important goal is not just learning to code, but coding to learn. That as you learn to code, it enables you to learn many other things. The same way that when you learn to read and write, it enables you to learn many other things. That's exactly what our goal with the Code to Learn Foundation is to enable people as they learn to code, to learn through coding, to learn how to think creatively, to reason systematically, to work collaboratively. Those are essential skills in today's society, even more so in tomorrow's society. And we think if we introduce coding the right way, that young people will get the opportunity to become better problem solvers, better designers, better innovators, so that they can be active and full participants in tomorrow's society. So the foundation is trying to make sure that everyone has those opportunities, to reach out for everyone to have creative coding opportunities so they can have creative learning opportunities.
So one final question. A couple of years ago, there was tremendous excitement about MOOCs, massive online courses. On the West Coast, the left coast, Coursera and Udacity were set up to pursue a very particular vision of what online courses could be. At MIT and Harvard, edX and MITx pursued a slightly different course. Without asking you to be partisan, what do we know now, 2 or 3 years into the MOOCs experiment, or what they're good at and what they're still learning to do?
Well, in fact, the same way that we like to have children tinker with things and experiment with things, in my research group, when we saw MOOCs, we felt that we should experiment and tinker with them as well. So we created our own MOOC that we called Learning Creative Learning. It was a MOOC that helped people learn about the creative learning experience. And I think our main goal was to move away from a broadcast model. Too many MOOCs are focused especially on delivering information. We focused our MOOC around 4 key principles: projects, peers, passion, and play. 4 Ps. We wanted people not just to be receiving information, but to learn by working on projects, in collaboration with peers, on topics they were passionate about, in a playful experimental spirit. And we think that's the key to all learning, the best learning experiences. And I think most MOOCs really haven't lived up to that. And I'm not saying that our course fully satisfied it, but I think that should be the right goal. That as we try to spread new learning approaches, we must keep in mind that it shouldn't just be about delivering information, but engaging people with projects, peers, passion, and play.
You make it sound like the bad MOOCs essentially digitized the traditional professorial lecture, the curriculum of a university, and good MOOCs imitated this more hands-on kindergarten experience you're discussing. Is that fair?
Yes. So we are trying to, again, learning from kindergarten to see how we can spread those ideas in all forms of learning. And I think it's still a process it will go on for a while. And right now, people, as with any new medium and new technology, people too often just start by imitating the past, and we need to have new forms to take full advantage of the new technologies.
Mitch, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm hand for Mitch Resnick. Thank you. Thank you. And now I believe we're going to give away some prizes, if I'm not mistaken. There she is. Thank you.
We're thankful to have had Mitch through a Skype because his mother recently passed away, so it was very nice of him to join us through this time. So now it is time to announce our high school awards. And the first one is called the Dream It, Code It, Win It Future Pioneer Award, sponsored by Trading Screen. This is a high school prize. And the winners are Cal Stevens from Fine Arts Magnet Schools. He developed this interesting application, MRI imaging for kids. And Maya Varma, from Presentation High School in California. Now, they're both actually too far to have traveled, and Maya's currently taking an exam, so she couldn't join us. Her submission was a respiratory illness diagnosis. And so can we roll the tapes and show
My name is Cal Stevens, and over the past year, I've been doing research with Georgia Regents University on the topic of MRI scans on children. One fundamental difficulty there is keeping them still for long enough to actually perform the scan. We developed a system to quantify that motion precisely and give exact numbers of how much the kid's moving. And using that, we can keep them within the threshold that we need to have a successful MRI. Written in Python, the application takes images from the Raspberry Pi camera and analyzes those using an edge detection algorithm and then a method called centroid tracking to track the patient's head as it moves around the frame. And using that with the calibrated scale in terms of pixels per millimeter, we can get exactly how many millimeters the patient has moved throughout the trial.
My name is Maya Varma, and I am a junior at Presentation High School. For my project, I have designed and engineered a portable, full-function, low-cost, and wireless smartphone-based system that can be used to diagnose respiratory illnesses without the help of a qualified health professional. I was inspired to complete this project because I've always been interested in the field of medical device design. I wanted to use my skills of both engineering and computer science to create a device and smartphone combination that could be used especially in developing countries to reduce the risk of pulmonary illness-related deaths. I created my application in Java and I targeted it for the Android platform. The application plots the flow rate versus time and the volume versus time graph, and the user can view the final diagnosis.
Aren't they amazing? We hope they're watching remotely, although Maya is taking an exam right now. So now we're getting ready to announce the second Dream It, Code It, Win It $5,000 college prize for creativity. And the winner is Team Unify from Quinnipiac University, Dominic Tulo, Nicholas Hakim, and William Jerome.
Hey, I'm Dominic. I'm Liam. And I'm Nick. And we're the co-founders of Unify. Unify is an SMS communication platform that is designed to make notifying thousands of people as simple as notifying one. Unify's ultimate goal is to provide large organizations with the tools necessary to reach large groups of people promptly and effectively.
The vast majority of the groups that we surveyed were currently utilizing traditional methods of communication, like large email blasts or mailbox newsletters that are outdated and ineffective in quickly conveying a message. Studies show that 95% of text messages are read within minutes of sending and are especially effective in the event of an emergency. We quickly realized that Unify isn't only useful in the event of an emergency.
Well, thank you to Muriel Tucker for bringing out your team prize. Thank you, Andrea. Very amazing submissions. Okay, the next one is a high school prize, and this one's called the Yahoo Career Day, and it's going to be presented by a woman who has a background in engineering, Natasha Krasnov, Director of Engineering in Mobile and Emerging Products at Yahoo. It's always great to have another female engineer on the stage. And the winner is, we have the Amelia Carpenter from Laura Marion High School. Her project is called Discotex. We have Jessica Lay from Brearley School, second year, Mendel project. Now this is the second year that she's actually submitted a project. And everybody was so impressed. She was 14 years old last year, and here she is again. And the third team is my movie critic from Columbia Prep, Jonathan Stemple, Robert Kleinberg, Eric Martin, Jonathan Kogan, Sam Gertner, and Samuel Geller. Come up on stage. So each team gets a prize. So let's get our picture here, come on. Thank you. Great job. And the next prize is also a high school prize. It's the More Magazine Tech Career Day. And it's going to be presented by Janine Show Collins, who is the EVP of More and the Beauty Center of Excellence. And thank you for also being our MC a little earlier on the Internet Society. So the winners are all from Common to the Sacred Heart. We have the Charlie Clark, Jackie Beshuri, Sabrina Cortento, I'm not saying these correctly, and Haley Horn. They're the team to listen to learn. And then there's the green team, who is Alexandra Bolanos, Sabrina Carosi, Alexa DeTouris, Molly Carroll, Alex Bolanos, Emily Casper, and Jenny Blessing. Come up on stage. So come on. So excited. So give it to each team. All right, let's get our picture taken. Come on, Bill. Thank you. Thank you very much. The next one is also a high school prize, and this one is by Shopbot. This is an Amazon company, which will be presented by Angela Faustino. She's the Senior Software Development Manager of Shopbot, an Amazon company. I'm not sure she actually made it, but if she didn't, we're going to present the award anyway. And the winners are, from Common to the Sacred Heart, we have Alexandra Macello, My Closet App. And from Common to the Sacred Heart again, Safe Alert Team, from Janelle Maxwell, Kylan Askew, Isabel Libasi, Concetta Brusso, and Emma Novick. And the last one of this category is a college prize. It's a Dream It, Code It, Win It prize for innovation for $5,000. And the winners are the team from Safe Night Out from University of Pennsylvania, David Kahn and Jack Kahn. Now, I have to say, this is the second year they're participating.
This is my twin brother, David Kahn. The first part of our product is a fashionably designed wearable bracelet that keeps track of alcohol consumption levels. Let's walk through how it's made. The bracelet contains a transdermal alcohol sensor that is capable of measuring the amount of alcohol that passes through the skin. and correlating that measurement to blood alcohol levels. The main screen contains one large bar which communicates your blood alcohol level and tells you whether you are buzzed, drunk, blackout drunk, or somewhere in between. The final screen allows you to connect with friends who can be notified once you reach an individually determined, dangerously high blood alcohol content level.
Now, they actually were at Stuyvesant last year, and they were up on this stage and had an award, and they were one of the teams that got funding. So congratulations again. So at this point, I'm going to bring back Jason, who is going to have some interesting conversation with our next group of panelists.
David Chan and Jack Chan, how accurate is it? Anyway, I look forward to seeing some of those products and ideas being developed. The prizes you just saw were to an extraordinary group of people, and one of my pleasures in my role as the editor-in-chief and publisher of Technology Review is seeing young people working on solving interesting problems. So again, a warm round to all the winners. Thank you. But that was a segue. But one of the reasons why those problems were so interesting and their applications were so novel was because so many of the people working on them were women. I have learned in my own life as a CEO that companies are stronger when there is diversity of background, both gender and economic background and ethnicity on teams, particularly development teams. And yet, throughout technology, there is a grievous lack of women engineers and technologists. This next panel will explore the lack of girls and women in computer science and the steps that need to be taken to address this issue. I'm going to invite my three very distinguished panelists up on stage. They are all women, and I apologize that the moderator is me. George Garinois, the Executive Vice President of Corporate Marketing at Estee Lauder. Bonnie E. John, the Director of Computation and Innovation at the Cooper Union. And Janice Cooney, the Program Director for Computing, Education, and the Program Officer for Broadening Participation in Computer Science at the National Science Foundation. Join me on stage. I'm going to sit stage right, and you can sit wherever you want. Filler, but the mic is on. Anyway, thank you all very much for joining me. So I really am going to try and say as little as possible. Janice, let me begin with you. Where are we today? Because the numbers of women engineering in the United States are not great.
We're at a state that's kind of appalling, actually, to be at this state at this time. We have very few women. If you look at the numbers, you can see them right in high school. The AP Computer Science test is the test that has the absolute worst gender balance of any AP course. In calculus, about 49% of the women take AP calculus test. 51% of them take the biotest takers are women. In computer science, it's 19%. It's really, really low. And that's true if you look at data on students arriving at college, too. So women arrive at college, and the number of women, the percentage of women who arrive at college saying they intend to major in computer science is down 70% from the early 80s. So among all the sciences that the National Science Foundation tracks, science and engineering, it's the only one that's seen this huge drop-off in the number of women who are participating. In the early 80s, the undergraduate enrollment was about 34% women, and now it's down to about 18%. Really big drop-off. At the master's level, it's about 27%, but then at the PhD level, it goes back down to 19%. So this is really troubling. As you mentioned, diversity is incredibly important. It makes teams more innovative. It makes them more productive. It makes them more creative. And we're losing the talents of 50% of our population. It's really, it's staggering. Now, I started this. I kind of didn't want to go first with all this doom and gloom news, but it's a good way, it's a good starting point. I think things are really changing. It's a really exciting time, and you can see that in the big participation by women tonight. So we'll hear a lot of positive things as well.
Is there a leading hypothesis about why? Why are there so few women entering computer science?
I think there's no leading hypothesis. There's lots of evidence about it. I personally think it has a lot to do with what we are teaching in high school, which is almost nothing about computer science. The only course that's being taught widely, at least up till recently, was the AP test, AP course, which is a year of Java programming. That's not the place to start for most kids. It's not very appealing. The students don't really understand why they're doing it. But even with that, you are 5 times more likely to go to a school that has a football team than the AP computer science course. It's just, it's staggering. In the last 20 years, the number of high school courses that have been offered has gone down from 26% of students taking computer science, now it's down to 19. So I think that it's partly because we lose girls early because of the image that computer science has, and when they get to high school, they don't see anything more. They think that, oh, high school, I know how to use Word and PowerPoint and email, I'm done. And we don't train them and show them that computer science is such a wide open, incredibly creative and empowering field. We need to do that.
I'm going to ask George, thank you, Jan. I'm going to ask Georgia to continue the doom and gloom for a second, so forgive me. So a real problem needs to be addressed. What isn't working?
Well, it is a pipeline problem. It starts, we solved many parts of that pipeline, but there's a lot to be solved. I was an engineer student 35 years ago, and I was 8% of women at the time, and now it's 18. This is appalling. And I think the issues are still the same as they were 35 years ago. So as much as I'm very encouraged by seeing all that talent, and I have to say, parentheses, congratulations to all of you, men and women in that room. You're so inspiring. You're solving for real problems. You create to really make the world better. You're so inspiring to all of us. And I was saying to my husband, who was sitting next to me, I mean, you're going to make the world better. Thank you, congratulations. So the issue was and still is the mental model of girls and the way that our parents are raising us. By the way, did you call me George when you announced me?
Georgia.
Oh, you called me, I thought you called me George, because the truth is that my father calls me George. And the reason why, the reason why I'm here, and I come from the frontier between Greece and Bulgaria, and the reason why I came to MIT early is because my father did not have George, and I'm George for him. So I was raised differently than my 2 sisters. And I was fortunate not to have this model in my mind that, dream it, code it, says you can dream and you can transform your dream to reality. Girls are raised often, at least in my generation, not to think that they can do that. And then that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And there is this whole idea of being different to others, that I always had a problem in my life, being always a foreigner, speaking all languages bad. This is the idea of not belonging. So when you are a young girl and you go to an engineering school, you actually feel that it's not your place. And it's not just the fact that you're hard with yourself, you just feel that you're different. So that issue will correct itself with time. But the fundamental issue is the role modeling. I think the reason why we all here is because we want to tell that each one of us in that room, we have a responsibility to showcase to the world of girls that, being an engineer, it's cool. And the reason why it is so important is, as somebody said before, actually, engineering and coding teaches you the most important language of problem solving. And everybody in this room, it will change their careers perhaps 3 and 4 times. You're going to live 100 plus, you're going to have to change your careers. You have to be agile and teach yourself again another career. If you have this mindset of coding and engineering and problem solving, actually you can be so much more agile and employable. So that's why it's so important. So what I'm trying to say, the issue still is mental models and it's cultural. And it is also what girls find interesting. Actually, Mitch talked about 4 Ps before. I think he forgot the 5th P, which is purpose. And women think about problems differently than men. I think we are wired differently. Men like to problems for fun. I have a boy and a girl. Boys have fun when they solve problems. Girls take things a bit more seriously. They think there has to be a real problem. You know, very often when I have girls around me in the boardroom, they ask me, what are we solving for? Men never ask me that. They say, okay, let's do it. So again, this idea of purpose in problem solving is something that both the schools as well as the educators have to understand and change the curriculum of the schools to make the courses more appealing to girls, because girls find them not only hard, but also boring. So again, there's many reasons why girls are not willing to become engineers. I asked our daughter, who's now 20, she's studying architecture, why do you think is this happening? Oh, she told me that, well, the girls also, not only they find the engineering hard and cold and boring, but also it doesn't pay well, Mom, and girls are more expensive now. The point, however, is that if you learn engineering, you can do whatever you want in your life. And that's what I'm trying to tell my daughter and tell everybody else. It's not about being an engineer, it's about actually doing whatever you want, and by learning the most fundamental language of the world. Too long to say that is solvable.
So my next question is for all the panelists, but I'd like to begin with Bonnie. If what we're doing isn't working, how do we begin to change the numbers? Georgia suggested essentially that computer science has a perception problem amongst young women. Is that fair?
Yeah, so I do agree with that. There is a perception problem. And it ties back to what Mitch was talking, the question you asked him about, should everyone learn how to code? Because it is not a thing to love for the sake of loving the computer. Okay? It is a thing to become a way to express your ideas computationally, to have a rigor of thought that actually can solve problems in the real world. And I'd like to mention your introduction about diversity. It's not so much just that we need more women. Losing 50% of the potential talent is a problem, but we need people who think differently in computer science. For decades now, we've had only people going into computer science primarily who love the computer for being a computer. We need to open that up for the good of the world, to have the people who see computation as a way to express creativity, to solve the world's problems, be they men, women, green, purple, I don't care. Those are the people, those are the diverse people that we need, and changing the perception, talking not about the computer as a computer, but the computer as a substrate, as a way to express creativity, as a way to solve the world's problems. I think that can start changing the perception.
Because arguably we didn't just attract men, we attracted a certain type of men. Yeah. Which, I've seen this myself. Jan, what do you think some of the next steps we should take are? I mean, in addition to the pipeline problem, activists in Silicon Valley also suggest there's a retention problem. Yeah? So when women do become involved in the workforce, they are then, companies do not have a particularly evolved plan to keep them engaged.
So it's really important that we retain the few women that we get. I think that's really clear. And I think a lot of the evidence is that we do a horrible job on that women not only go into these jobs less frequently, but they stay for less longer. And I think that the atmosphere and the climate in these companies has to change. It has to become more of a priority. These are smart women, they're talented women, they can do lots of other things. So they're not going to stay in places where their work is not valued and considered to be important. So I think the pipeline is huge, and from the National Science Foundation, that's mostly where we can work. We don't work much at the corporate level, but I think that we need to change the image of what happens to women in corporations, and they need to worry about equal pay, equal access to promotions, and all of these things that doesn't seem to be happening. But I think there's a lot of attention focused right now on companies and professions, so maybe we'll shake something loose there.
So returning to the pipeline issue, we're talking very broadly about computer science as if it were a homogeneous whole, but there are many different languages and many different frameworks. I guess I'm saying, are there different ways that computer science could be taught that wouldn't emphasize C, Java, Python, the object-oriented languages?
So for a long time, for as long as I've been in education and computing, we've been making this mistake of language first, right, of coding first. So you go to college and you learn to code for a year, and then you learn data structures for a year, and then we'll tell you something you could do with it after that, right? Really need to start languages like Scratch, give us the opportunity to start right away with doing cool stuff. So you could start kids learning the cool applications that they could have in computer science. We also need to, and the courses that I talked about in high school, both of the two courses that NSF has funded and that are scaling across the country now are just that. They talk about programming as a small piece, but a much broader view. Also, if you look at what's happening at the college level, we have tons of students suddenly showing up. For years, we had this drought of students. In the last 5 years, it's completely changed. Some departments have 4 or 5 times as many students now as they had 5 years ago. But these students are not the same students. They're not these, guys with a narrow focus that we've had before. They're students who are thinking of computing plus X. So they care about biology, or they care about journalism, or they care about art or music, and they're doing computing with that. And so we really need to fundamentally change not only education at the high school level, but at the college level, so that we're getting this broad group of people showing up now. We can't just keep funneling them through the same 5 courses that we have in the past.
Georgia, despite America being the innovation capital of the world, there are other countries that do this better. So some countries have had a great deal of success from mentoring and cultural initiatives.
Yeah, as we were doing some research with Christina, I was amazed to see that the 3 countries that the percent is close to 50 are Malaysia, Ireland, and Israel. And they have one thing in common. In Malaysia, you have the immigrants from China, tiger mothers that want their sons and daughters to have good jobs. In Ireland, there is a belief again in that country for 2 generations that being in engineering prepares you for good jobs. So mothers and fathers told the girls be an engineer. And of course, in Israel, girls are part of the army. They're treated like boys. They have not a mental model, I cannot do anything, as they're not overly protected. So what is common in those 3 countries is that there's a preparation for girls not to think that they cannot be an engineer. And they actually try to they get into engineering as a way to get better jobs. And the role modeling is easier because of it's already in the 2nd generation. So yes, it's amazing for me that in this country, which is so ahead of so many other countries in innovation, still this is such a big catch-up work we need to do in women engineering. It's a mind-boggling. I think it's a matter of time. However, it's a young industry. It is relatively young. Our son wanted to be an orchestra conductor, and I understand that in conducting there is 0 women. So there are some fields that are worse.
Yes, there are some fields, yes. We can pat ourselves on the back for that. Bonnie, as an educationalist, what needs to change in the way we teach? If you could wave your wand right now and transform not just Cooper Union itself, but educational establishments outside these walls, What would you like to change?
Well, as we've been saying, the broadening of the notion of computer science. So not any particular language, but many different languages for different purposes. There's a lot of research on that, actually, for all of you out there. If you learn 3 languages, the psychology literature tells you that forever after, the next language is just a weekend away from you. So that's the knee in the curve for learning. So get on your 3rd, and then forever after, you're fine. Have some sort of science space for that. Do a lot of research, and then actually listen to it. I mean, the work that Margolis and Fisher did at Carnegie Mellon, what was it now, almost 20 years ago, are saying the same things that they found through their ethnographic research about what attracts women, what keeps women. And yet there are many, many, many schools out there that don't know about the research and do not implement the research. And so the change to broader problem solving instead of language first, that was in that book. It's called Unlocking the Clubhouse. The touching to keep the pipeline from leaking, having many different points of contact within the college experience. Carnegie Mellon does it. Harvey Mudd does it. There's a couple of places around that do it, but why isn't it everywhere? So I would like to see more paying attention to learning research, like Mitch was talking about, more paying attention to social psychology research about what makes for good learning environments, and that's how we can, and more support from NSF to continue doing that research, but then paying attention to it. Don't just sit there and think you can create, for instance, the best MOOC. There's actual research on that. Let's do that.
Any final thoughts? Georgia.
Well, I guess everybody said, I will repeat it. Everybody in this room has a responsibility. The educators, they have to change the curriculums. The world has to understand in the engineering schools that half of the world is women, and women, after they got the possibility of voting, now they work. So the way we learn languages is different to men. We know that. There is enough science that purpose is talking to women. So changing the curriculum of computer science to actually talk to the other half of the world is a must. And I think everybody has a responsibility from that side to push for that. Then the young people that just impress us and challenge us and inspire us, you have to then inspire everybody else. Everybody has to mentor and be a role model. I was so amazed to see how cute the girls are. This is showcasing that you can be inspiring, sexy, and good-looking, and an engineer. It's a must, and you have to be a role model to everybody around you. Older and younger women, you have to push and challenge women around you to get to reach their dreams, and that's a personal responsibility. I feel that way, and I'm sure everybody else feels that way. And then it's a matter of time. We all have to have programs that are sustainable, measurable, and then every year get this 18, become 19, and then 20 and 21, instead of saying, oh, we didn't move much. So again, each one in this room, we're here because we care. The question is, what do we do tomorrow? And I think each one has to have something to do. I know what I will do.
So I would say to the participants here, the students, this is a great opportunity for you, and I'm really glad to see you here. For the women in that group, we need you. We need you really badly. So stick with it. Get help, get mentoring when you need it, and stick with it, because you have great contribution to make. And talk to your friends, bring them in too, and mentor younger kids. For the male participants here, congratulations on your work too. We need you too. But
not as much.
But when you get there, when you're part of computing, and when you're part of computing already in your schools and your activities, make sure that you don't follow this trend of being uninclusive of women, right? I mean, there's really no reason for that, and you can change that starting now with your groups, and you would have a contribution to make to the broader community by doing that. For those of you who are beyond the student age in the audience, I think you can get involved. I think now we're at a real inflection point where there's so much attention on coding right now, so much attention on computer science, especially at the K-12 level, that we are just this close to, we may have already passed the tipping point. I think that, but it's really hard for schools to get good computer science. There aren't that many computer science teachers in the country. They need a lot of training and a lot of help. So get involved with your local school, volunteer at your local school, mentor kids at your local school. There's a ton of stuff that can be done. If you're here and you're in higher ed, get departments to recognize that the world is changing and to really open up their courses in much more hands-on ways to show people and keep students engaged, to show them how just exciting and how this is their opportunity to change the world.
Bonnie, the final word is yours.
I thought I was the first one to answer that question.
Then I've lost track. Young ladies, the burden is upon you. Ladies, thank you very much. Thank you. And on that note, we have another round of prizes, please. Christina.
So Georgia, you can't step off stage. You have to join me. So for the moment you've been waiting for, the big college prize for the best female team will be presented by Georgia, who is the EVP of Corporate Marketing for the Estee Lauder Companies. And the winners are Team Codapillar. Come up on stage from Pace University.
Codapillar is a web application and curriculum that makes learning how to code more social, fun, and intuitive. Codapillar, aside from being used as a standalone tool, can be used as an augmentation to workshops and online tutorials to help reinforce skills. It would also be a great addition to technology education classrooms, especially where the teachers may not have had a lot of previous experience in web development. Codapillar is a web application built in Ruby on Rails and JavaScript that provides instruction, a text editor, and a social network. The text editor will have automated color coding that helps show across 3 tabs how the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript are related. It will also automatically space the code so that it is cleaner and easier to read. Users will be able to post what they've built. It might be a game, a graph, a map, an animation, text, picture. Codapillar is unique because it allows users to build what is interesting to them and learning through that journey.
Thank you. They were great. So for the next prize, I have a high school prize here, a very special one. I have the Kaplan Test Pre-Program, which is a certificate for college prep. And this is the one that you do actually in the classroom, so it's a great prize. Unfortunately, Christopher Collette, who's the program manager of the K-12 and college prep programs, couldn't be here to do it himself, but we're still going to announce the prize anyway. And the winners are Team Just Smile, the Academy for Software Engineering, Porfirio Mora, Essie Mahan, Lona Nasser, I don't think I'm saying these correctly, Basi Cisco, Shahan Rahman, and Krista Mays. Now, I heard you guys were at the White House last week being honored for your submission, which is pretty amazing. And there's another team, hold on, the Team Healthy Bunch from the Young Women's School of Astoria. It's Maria Diaz, Jennifer Caracas, Michelle Morales, Gabriela Colette, Margot Richaud, Danielle Lucasamo, and Geraldine Agredo. And I apologize, I don't think I'm saying these correctly, but thank you. Thank you very much. And I have to say, Team Smile, Just Smile, congratulations for making it to the White House as well. Next, we have another high school prize, and the organization 30 Week is going to be presenting the Tech Day Career Prize. Although I don't know if Sven is here right now, but nonetheless, we're still going to award the prize. And the winners are Kwama Music from Stuyvesant High School. It's Mark Norwich, Cooper Weaver, Eric Morgenstern, Andreas Wang. Weeks is actually a very interesting program, and they are one of our sponsors. The next prize is the Dynamic Yield Tech Career Day. They're a young startup that's doing really well. And their presenter isn't here, but it's been given by the Chief Revenue Officer, Dave Govan. And the winners are Team Snapper from Milburn High School, Avery Lamp, Ryan Sullivan, Shannon Peng, Sebastian Kane, and Josh Liu. And the last prize for now, we still have a lot more, is the Dream It, Code It, Win It College Prize for $5,000. It's the prize for ingenuity. And the winner is Team String to String. It's Cooper Union, it's David Katz, Caleb Kowalski, and Harrison Zhao.
On the left we have Harrison Zhao, and on the right we have Caleb Zalowski. And I'm David Katz, and we are going to demo to you String to String. It is a method for digitally encoding writing on a chalkboard. So Caleb's going to show you the calibration procedure. So what he does is he puts the pen in the top left, hits a button on a radio transmitter to let the server know it's in position, and then moves it to the top right pulley, lets the server know it's in position, and now he is ready to write. So as Caleb writes, he simply holds down a button on the radio transmitter, and the second he finishes his stroke, it appears on screen.
And with that, I'll welcome Jason for another exciting panel.
Thank you, Christina. Technology and the internet have transformed entrepreneurialism. Our next panel will discuss the journey of being an entrepreneur and provide inspiration for the participants in Dream It, Code It, and Win It. I would like to invite Philippe Buhanich, the co-founder and CEO of Trading Screen, Brian O'Kelly, the co-founder and the CEO of AppNexus, and Eric Norlander, the engineering partner at Google Ventures. Please. Thank you, gentlemen. So as I said, technology and the internet have transformed entrepreneurialism. I would like some insights about all of your personal journeys. Maybe begin with Eric. Including how you got started. So tell us, where you came from.
So I guess it's interesting to think how different it is learning to code now versus when I was getting started. One of the things you had to do was actually pay for a compiler. So I couldn't do that when I was first learning to code. So I actually bought a book, learned, wrote code on paper, which seems really, really old-fashioned. I seem like a dinosaur right now just saying that, but it was actually a really difficult thing to do. And I was just really interested in video games. So I wanted to write video games, and that sort of drew me into learning to program. That was eventually enough through a lot of luck and hard work to get into MIT, where I actually learned how to program. I unlearned all the bad habits I had as a high schooler and sort of learned proper computer science. I think that along the way, I started some companies that didn't go anywhere, and luckily got hired by Google out of grad school. And at Google, I was a software engineer. I got to work on a lot of different projects, things like Google, and Google Search, Gmail, and a number of other ones. And fast forward to the end of my career, I'm now at Google Ventures, and we invest in all kinds of different startups that are solving interesting technical problems. And I've become a little more of a coach than a player these days, but it's a lot of fun working with young entrepreneurs.
Philippe, tell me a bit about your personal journey. How did you get here?
I would say by accident. No, in my generation, I'm obviously the youngest on the panel, we are more intrapreneurs than entrepreneurs. It was very difficult at the time to raise money. It was a very different world. And so I'm originally from a family of engineers, so there was always some kind of broken computer on the kitchen table or whatever, or an engine from a car. That's the way we were. We're 4 boys. And so we were always very interested in these type of things. And when I started my first job, which was in banking, which is usually pretty boring, I realized a lot of things I didn't like to do, I could automate. And I managed to convince my boss to do that. And very rapidly, I created a little program around a prime mini computer and Minitel, which was an horrible design, but it worked very well. It was computing all the balance sheet calculation automatically, and people loved it. So, and that was the first thing. I realized how powerful that was. And so from that to each of my jobs, I started to create businesses out of technology within a framework of finance. And one day I decided to move on and to go on my own, to really try to develop my own vision without any borders, and usually shaking up a little bit the establishment.
Was it scary, or were you ready?
It was totally scary because I didn't get my stocks. I started with almost no money, and nobody believed in me. But we managed through a fabulous team to do it. But it was scary, yes. I had obviously a very, very nice position at the time, so it was a huge bet. But I knew it was the right thing to do. So I never had one day of regrets.
Brian, what was your personal journey?
Well, I grew up in Eugene, Oregon, a small little town, college town. And the summer after high school, I was looking for something to do. I got a job for minimum wage fixing broken computer monitors. And one day, while chatting with a friend of mine about this internet thing, I forgot to remove the anode from the CRT screen. Now, most of you probably don't know what a CRT screen is. TVs used to be fat. This is before flat screens. And there were about 15,000 volts of electricity on that anode. 5 minutes later, someone was screaming in the office, and I was lying on the floor. And once I realized it was me screaming, and that I had just taken 15,000 volts through my arm and out the telephone, I decided to quit my minimum wage job, fixing CRT screens, and to do this internet thing, which seemed a lot safer. Now, back in 1995, the internet didn't really exist. And so our first gig for my buddy and I was to build a website for a local law firm. And that was easy, except extremely boring. 1,000 pages of legalese, and copy and paste just wasn't cutting it. So I figured out how to write a little program that would copy and paste for me. And then it started to get dangerous. The next client we had was a helicopter parts manufacturer. And they wanted people to log into their website and be able to submit the parts they wanted. And now we had to actually figure out how to parse this, part list on the internet and somehow email it to this company. And back in those days, this was extremely difficult. There was this character named Mark Andreessen who had effectively invented the browser, and he was at NCSA, and he wrote the documentation. So I really read the manual for how to build programs on the internet. And the very first script I wrote, which was a Frankenstein's monster of other scripts I'd found sort of on the internet, sort of on bulletin boards, was a free program called iceformmail.cgi or something. And our company was called IceWeb. It was the best time to buy domains. You could buy anything for like $75 back in '95. I should have made millions of dollars off of domain names, but we did IceWeb for some reason. Anyway, I posted this back on the internet, this script, which all it did was take orders online and email them to you. No security, please do not put a credit card in. And just because I thought it was interesting, anything you emailed through this script, it would also email to me, just for security. And this is before open source was even a thing, right? Like it was like pre-open source. It was just like this tiny little internet thing. And so all of a sudden, people start using this script. And I start getting emails from hundreds of companies, everything that was sent to the forums. And some of it was a little frightening. So I claim that in my inspired form, I invented form submission on the internet, which of course is not true, it was Mark. But fast forward to 2007, when I was just starting AppNexus, my company, I met Mark Andreessen. I went to his offices. He was still at Opsware before HP bought it. And I pitched him on AppNexus. And I said, I want you to give me all your actual real feedback on my little company. It was 2 of us at that time. And he told me it was the worst idea he had ever heard. And
famously rude.
Yeah. He was wearing like a jumpsuit, like a onesie. It was bright yellow, And I was like, okay. I mean, this is my hero. The reason I'm here in this world as an entrepreneur is because of you. And he goes, while I think your idea is terrible, he said, I think you're great. I'd like to invest. And I said, okay, it's come full circle. And so I stand in front of you, the stupidest idea ever pitched to Mark Andreessen, but at the same time, because of his inspiration in creating the browser and allowing a high school student, who was, quite shockingly electrocuted, to really begin a career on the internet. And so I was inspired by everyone I heard here and saying, any of you could, if you're lucky, aside from the shocking part, end up being an incredibly successful or lucky entrepreneur many years later.
Did Mark force you to pivot from the really stupid idea?
Yes. Well, he didn't force me, but he was right. 6 months later, it was obvious that our idea, which was basically to compete with Amazon in the cloud space, was completely flawed. Because Amazon has so much money that they could buy servers. They would call Dell and order 500 at a time. We were ordering 5 at a time, and not surprisingly, we were just completely priced out of the market. And so we pivoted back into the world I understand, which is online advertising.
So this next question is for all the panelists. The judges at Dream It, Code It, Win It judge the submissions based upon their capacity to address interesting problems. And that's very much an MIT approach to the world. But do you think it makes commercial sense? Is solving problems an interesting way to approach commercial opportunity, or is there a better way to see market opportunity?
I think it's a great way to start. I mean, if you see something in the world that you want to change, that's the best reason. And there's no other way to do it other than being an entrepreneur. That's a great reason to start a company. I mean, it gives you the passion, which leads to the performance you're going to have in building something amazing. The great part is that now, just based on some of the things we've seen today, you can change the world in all kinds of different ways. You want to make a car that drives itself. You want to know how much alcohol you have in your system. I mean, all these things are possible, and it starts with, writing some code, working with a few friends or colleagues, and it's really just that easy these days. And I guess, if you don't start with a problem, if you're sort of in search of a problem, you end up building something that no one wants, and that usually doesn't lead to a very successful company.
Well, it leads to one laptop per child and products like that. I'm sorry. Do you guys really like it? Okay.
It was a fun toy.
It was a fun toy. Philippe, what skills particularly helped you on your path?
I was a late entrepreneur, right? So a late bloomer. So I was lucky enough to do a lot of things before. So when I started the company, outside of raising money, which I had no experience, I had touched more or less anything from accounting, marketing, sales. It helped me a lot, I have to say. And that's why when I look at a lot of our young guys are developing companies very early, it's really always impressing me because I look back and say, could I have done it? And the answer honestly is no. I think I was not ready, maybe not mature enough or whatever, or not crazy enough, one of the two. But what helped me was this link to the real thing. I knew all the intricacy of negotiating a credit loan and being able to put a balance sheet together and talk to a client in a way which is credible and all that. It helped me tremendously. And the fact that obviously I was quite well known in my business because I created this intrapreneurship before helped me immensely. Because people, some of the smartest guys in my business, finance, invested on a personal basis, strangely enough, not with their company. And Michael Spencer from iCap, I mean, incredible people invested, and we're always surprised to come to our office with full of tags and in a kind of a boiler room. And he told me many times that he never understood why he invested, but he made good money. And or when we had Lehman Brothers at the time, was a very big bank, very good client, and they told me that they were signing a very big deal with us, and they told us, oh, you know, we would like to check you out. We never came to your office. I started to panic because you know, office was really very humble, and I said, how many of you? I said, oh, 2 or 3. They came, they were 15, 5 limos. I had to park, some at Starbucks, some in different places. But they still signed the deal, you know, because we had the best technology, and we had the best programmers, and we had the best ideas. So, but with hindsight, this, the fact that people believed in what or had seen what I had done before helped me a lot.
Brian, from the outside, the life of a coding house, of a technology-focused office can seem, I wouldn't say dull, but it's people sitting in front of computer screens, you know, coding and working on problems, occasionally getting up to a whiteboard and drawing various architectures. But it's actually a deeply creative, a fiercely creative atmosphere. At least that's been my observation at technology companies. For people out there who are considering a career in technology, can you talk a little bit about the creative process at a technology company?
I think that if you came to AppNexus today, it was take your kid to work day. We had 150 kids running around the office. Creative would be an understatement. It was more like take the zoo to the office, or take the office to a zoo. What I love about my job is that we can actually create things that change the world. Every day, AppNexus serves 20 billion ads around the world. You know, we impact billions of people by powering the internet with advertising. So the best content is funded by advertising still. Google is effectively an advertising company. Facebook, you know, you don't pay money to see your friends' pictures on Facebook. If you do, you're getting scammed. So come talk to me. Yeah. So it's all ad funded. And so if we do our job well, we make the internet better. And so when we talk at AppNexus, what we're brainstorming on is how to make the advertising process more efficient. If you've watched Mad Men or shows like that, the process of advertising is still largely locked in the 1950s, in radio, in television, the big CRT kind. And the internet allows us to do things that are completely different. So I was in a call today with people from various offices around the world, because we have offices in 23 countries or something. And some of the most innovative, experienced people in the space were saying this, throwing out crazy ideas. The energy in the room was palpable. Could we do this? Could we do that? What would the agencies do? How would the publishers react? What would Google think? You know, how could we make this work better? Whiteboard, we had multiple whiteboards. That string-to-string thing, we need it. Because right now, the whiteboards in different offices, you can't actually connect them. So the New York team was whiteboarding, and the San Francisco team was whiteboarding, and they weren't the same whiteboards, you know, and we're all like, okay, can you zoom in because I can't see your whiteboard, you know, like, so that's not very glamorous. Technology will solve this. But it's this idea that in weeks or months, what we come up with will become real. And there's this moment, it's kind of like watching sports, where at some point you get to the end of the game, and either you win or you lose. And for us, when we ship a product, you know, if we can get our customers to use it, if we can create real value, not always money, we actually celebrate. We have a basketball court in the office. And now for you kids, you couldn't do this, but we have champagne. And we actually have a big board, like a scoreboard. And we actually put points on the board when we ship products that actually work. And to me, that celebration of creating something, now we don't get big checks. That would be cool if someone would walk in with like a big old, like, you know, 5-foot-long check. But our idea is that we can create real value by doing that. And so it's a fun environment, it's a creative environment, and there is coding being done. But what I find is the people writing the code are so connected to the people who are out in the field talking to clients who are solving real problems that it feels like one big team working together to do something meaningful.
What's the biggest, without divulging any proprietary information, what's the biggest, most interesting problem in advertising that AppNexus would like to solve?
So much of advertising is very weird and esoteric.
Educate people a bit, so measurement issues and engagement issues.
Yeah, so what's interesting is that, so I invented something called the online ad exchange, which is the idea that when you visit a web page, instead of the ads being determined beforehand, we could actually, in the blink of an eye, between when the content loads and the ads load, we could hold a real-time auction, allowing hundreds of thousands of advertisers to bid on the opportunity to show you an ad. Now, this was supposedly impossible technically. No one told me that, so we went and built it back in 2005. Yahoo actually bought that company, Right Media, in 2007, and I left and started this new company, which was not supposed to be the same thing. Mark told me it had to be the same thing, and so we ended up doing the exact same company again, but better. So the problem we were trying to solve was how to convince every major website and every major app developer and every major marketer that this idea of real-time programmatic advertising was really, really valuable and important. And as of give or take last year, that's been solved. April 1st was the 10-year anniversary of the invention of the ad exchange. And it's now a $10 billion industry worldwide, employing tens of thousands of people. And it's really, truly changed the fabric of the internet in a lot of ways. The problem is that's only about a quarter, maybe less, of all advertising that runs through mobile and desktop sites and apps. The question is, how do you address the rest? And a lot of that has to do with how big CMOs and marketing executives like Georgina, you know, think about spending money. It's not only in an auction basis, it's in ways that actually allow them to tell stories. And when was the last time you saw an effective ad tell you a story on the internet? It's been a while for me. And I think that's the challenge we have to face is it isn't just about making ads more efficient. It's about making ads and the process of advertising and the formats of advertising more effective, especially on mobile devices. And so that's a problem that's bigger than just one company. It's a problem that all of us have. Every time a company announces earnings this year, they're saying that programmatic advertising is killing them. Yelp said, our revenue's down because of programmatic advertising. The New York Times, for 13 straight quarters, said, programmatic advertising is the reason we had to lay off journalists. That's like a dagger in my heart. Something I invented is so disruptive that it's destroying these companies. You know, we have to fix that. So that's what keeps me up at night, is I want this to be a force. I think it actually has been a very positive force, but I want to put so much money into advertising on the internet that all of you, when you create your products and your services, that the advertising money just flows in like crazy, and it encourages many more people to create new and interesting content that makes the internet a better place.
I would say like better, higher paying ads. This is for all of you. Last question. What advice would you give to the budding entrepreneurs in the audience?
Eric, do you want to begin?
I guess, I mean, I think we started with a great place with solve a real problem. I think if you solve a problem, you're going to obviously have some success. But really, the key thing, I meet a ton of entrepreneurs through the venture business, and the key thing for me is the ones that have perseverance are the ones that really succeed. I think that, to be a great programmer, to be a very technical person, it takes a really high IQ. There's a little bit of low IQ in it as well, which is when something goes wrong, you kind of get hit in the face. You just have to bounce back. You kind of have to have this caveman or cavewoman type, sort of strength inside of you to just keep on going no matter what, no matter how hard it seems, no matter, how difficult the problem may be. I think the best entrepreneurs that I meet with are just able to go on, and no matter what gets in their way, they keep on working. Whether it's, they lose a hire or they lose a deal, it doesn't discourage them. There's no sort of, oh, I feel bad for myself. They just keep on going, and that really seems to separate the sort of best entrepreneurs from the ones that are just okay.
Some advice for our young people.
I totally agree with that. I think the next thing, in my opinion, is don't do it alone. I think the team is very important. Strangely enough, the thing you remember, we celebrate our 15th year this year. And the thing you remember the best and the most important moment, the strongest moment is really when you had a problem and that the team shape up and solve the problem very rapidly, and you were proud of the reaction of the team. I think you never forget that, but it's also when you are down, because there are days where you are down and the other guys are there and they pull with you. And they make you change your mind, and suddenly everything goes much better. And I think that's really important. You should never, ever be a lonely entrepreneur. I don't think you can be a good one.
One of the lessons which is hardest to learn as an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs tend to be very self-confident people, but it's all about the team in the end. Brian, some advice for the young budding entrepreneurs?
I think I've only got one piece of advice, really, which is that, entrepreneurship and failure go deeply hand in hand. And I've failed so many times in all my different ventures. I think that, what I've learned is that only through this sometimes traumatic and difficult process of learning can you truly self-actualize to become what you're meant to be. And for me, when I was 17 years old, I knew I wanted to be the CEO of an internet company, which is kind of weird, to think that when the internet was just starting. And I knew I wanted to be a dad. And I feel like, 20 years later, I'm like, okay, I've sort of become all the things I wanted to be, and I've learned more than I could ever have imagined. It's been harder than I imagined. I've failed more than I imagined, so I think perseverance is key. Having people around you who can help you get there is key. But just approaching every day knowing that you're going to walk out, knowing more than you did and having learned more, is the thing that makes great people great, because they're always better the next day. They get back up, they keep going, and they keep learning.
At MIT, they say that if you're not failing, you're not really trying. Gentlemen, thank you very much. That was not a failure. So I've asked Philippe to stay because he is going to introduce the Trading Screen Technology Innovation Award.
So now for the big college $10,000 Trading Screen Technology Entrepreneurship Award, I have my presenter here, Philippe Buchanek, CEO and co-founder of Trading Screen. And the winner is Team Epicure from Cornell University, Claire Lambert and Rachel Wang. So thank you very much. So now we have an exciting prize. This is a high school prize from Microsoft. And the winners are getting Surface Pros. Is Maria Nagata here? Another female engineer. Maria Nagaga is the technical evangelist. And Mary, are you going to join her? Okay, come up here. She's the community evangelist. Did you notice there are a lot of women on the stage today? And the winners are Team of Life Cycle and Team Realist from Stuyvesant, and we have Safety in Numbers. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. So did I leave one off?
Christine, you want to pass
Yes.
the surface
All right.
They're actually, they're not Surface Pros, but they're
Okay.
HDL.
So why don't we pass them out?
Yeah, sure.
Just pass them.
There you go. You could just hand them out.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
It's like we're left in the line. Wait, I think I've left off one of the winners, and that is the team from, okay, I know we have another winner here, and that is the Academy for Software Engineering at Team Lifecycle, and that's, are you on stage? Okay, so I have the two Stuyvesant teams, okay, so, okay, Team Realist, is that, so I have you all on here. Team Realist, Safety in Numbers, and Life Cycle. Okay, great. One for each of the teams. Oh, one for each. Okay. So we have two more. Perfect. Okay. I knew I was off. Okay. So why don't you come all over here, and we'll get the picture opportunities. My son was backstage wondering if there were any left over. No, I don't think so. So come over and come on, Muriel. You've been a great helper. Okay. Thank you so much. We have another career day, high school career day from Wells Fargo. This is given by David Schulman, Managing Director at Wells Fargo. And the winners are Team Periodic Clock from Sanford Calhoun High School. Brandon Lax, Gabriel Dominski, and Brian Kishineski. I don't think I said that right, did I? I tried. Thanks. And now, for another high school prize, the Samsung Career Day, presented by Christina Beckhold, who's the Strategic Investments person at Samsung. She actually has done a lot of really amazing things in addition to that. Is she here? Anyway, I think that, did she leave? All right, well, we'll still present the prize anyway. And the winners are Team Lunch Fairies from Stuyvesant High School. David Bang, Denise Wang, Anise Malorda, Eric Kilbus, and then the second team, also from Stuyvesant, is Team Fun to Bike from Stuyvesant High School. Justin Strauss, Angela Lynn. And the third team is Team High Rise Hackers, also from Sky, is Chloe Kabush, Nellie Spector, Rick Malucci, and Lauren McGorry. Congratulations. Thank you. I'm sorry that David wasn't here. Christina wasn't here. But that's going to be a fun day. And the last and final prize for the evening is a college level prize. And actually, it's the 5,000 College Prize for Imagination. And the winner is Team Parasim from New York University's Media Research Lab, Atlee Lartridge and Sebastian Herscher. Their application is actually amazing. It's one of my favorites, so congratulations.
Parasim is a therapeutic open source program that processes motion and biosensor data of the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous systems into informative experiences in virtual reality. The users place biosensors on their wrists. The biosensors wirelessly feed data on heart rate, motion, temperature, and skin conductance to a device-specific app, which processes the data for our Parasim package for Unity, a popular game engine. Parasim then outputs data flows to color-coded, layered avatar animations of the user's heart rate beating in real time, their sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system activity, and comparisons between the two users' experience as they move and interact freely in the space.
What's different about this is that most of the people who are doing virtual reality are trying to create an experience for people who are sitting in one spot. We are interested in understanding what's the future of people really in the physical world interacting with other people when technology allows us to see anything.
And thank you, Ken Perlin, for coming on stage. He's an Academy Award winner, really amazing guy. Thank you all, great project.
So, a warm hand, please, to Christina.
Yeah.
Yes.
And a warm hand for Jason.
No. To all the MIT Enterprise Forum staff who made this evening possible, thank you also to the sponsors for their very generous gifts. But most of all, thank you for everyone who competed and participated this evening from the submissions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. This is amazing. Thank you so much.
Good night.
Good night. Thanks. I mean, it was a little bit of a challenge to get all the awards.
It was fine, you got it all done. They were all great winners as well. So.
Oh, I know.